breaks everything down in the sports world and gives you everything you need to know. Plus, a bunch of stuff you probably don't need, but you'll still enjoy it.
You can't handle the truth.
Here is your host, Dan Kasper.
Prime time. Prime time.
What up, everybody? Good morning and happy Thursday. DK Show on the air. Appreciate you all tuning in. However, wherever you may be tuning in from on this fine June 22nd, morning of June 22nd. Hopefully you're all off to a fantastic start. If you're up and at 'em already, thanks for making this part of your starts on this Thursday morning here. Oh, man, what do we got on the good old game plan here? Well, obviously, we'll talk a little Brewers. Brewers falling to the Diamondbacks yesterday, 5-1, dropping the series to the Diamondbacks, and now 1.5 back from the red-hot Cincinnati Reds for first place in the division. Brewers just couldn't, again, get the offense going, couldn't get the bats going. Just one run in the fifth there. Julio Teheran, though, another quality starts for him in his, was it his sixth start so far here for the Crew this season, but he went 5 innings, giving up just 2 hits, 4 walks, and three strikeouts. No earned runs, though, for Julio Teheran. Yeah, six starts for him. He's one of those guys. He's been one of those pitchers that just hasn't gotten any run support whatsoever so far this year. Just 2-2, but a 1.53 ERA. Teheran, though, it was, one thing we were kind of talking about him, and of course we jinxed it, but he was only averaging just a tick under a walk a game, issuing a walk a game, and then yesterday issuing 4 walks. But he didn't get charged for any earned runs, so he got out of those jams. But Brewers offense, again, just in a lull. Now they begin a long road trip, off day today for the Brewers, but the next time we will see them in Milwaukee will be the week of July 4th, July 3rd, when they start that series against the Chicago Cubbies. So first up, you got the Cleveland Guardians, then you've got the Mets, and then you've got the Pirates, all on the road here for the Brewers. We'll get some comments from Craig Counsell and such after the game, talking about the Brewers' offensive woes and all that good stuff there. It is NBA draft day today. Will the Bucks make a move? Will they move up in the first round? They don't have a first-round pick, but rumors are that perhaps the Bucks could be a team that is eyeing to move up in the back end of the first round to get one of those, as NBA scouts, NBA people are saying, NBA ready wing type players at the back end of the first round there. We've got some teams that are already wheeling and dealing. We know about Bradley Beal heading over to the Suns, but yesterday, last night, because it got adjusted here a little bit, but Kristaps Porzingis, going from Washington to Boston. Now, initially, it was reported that Malcolm Brogdon was going to be a part of that deal. It was a 3-team deal involving the Clippers at that point. But late last night, it was adjusted here, and now Marcus Smart is a part of the deal, and he's actually going to Memphis. So now it seems like Brogdon is staying there in Boston. But nonetheless, with Boston making a big move and bringing in Porzingis, does Milwaukee counter? Do they have to counter? How can they counter with that? What are some options they could do? And also yesterday, no big surprise on this one, but Chris Middleton declining his $40 million player option, but as it's being reported, and no big return to the Bucks on a new deal remains a possibility, which I think is, again, no big surprise. Otherwise, I think a big indicator is, Chris Middleton being involved in a new head coach search there. I think Middleton prefers to stay with the Bucks. And again, for anybody wondering why would he turn down $40 million? Well, it could be a little bit of security, long-term contract. Might not make as much $1 million per year. Might have to cut out a few, but long-term security with a longer-term deal, and maybe just opening up just a skosh more money for the team to either bring back Brook Lopez or maybe be a little bit more active in the free agent market and bringing other players to the Bucks here. But you got Boston making moves, and Boston, I know they have a little bit more space because Brown doesn't have that big contract yet. I know that's going to be that was a talking point right after the Boston Celtics got eliminated from the postseason. Was do you give Brown like supermax type of contract? Is he a player worth that supermax type of contract and such? But now you bring in Porzingis and you pair him up with Tatum and such, and we'll see if Brown's going to be there. But should the Bucks counter? Do the Bucks have to counter at this point? What are your thoughts? Start hitting us up with some texts on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line, 715-830-1912, or on Twitter at DANKASPER, Facebook.com/Kasper Sports. Got the YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter video stream up and rolling that you can chime in over there as well. So we're going to talk some Bucks. We're going to talk some hoops coming up here in just a little bit. I know I asked it yesterday, but in case you missed it, if there's anybody that is like a diehard NBA draft fan or really likes the NBA draft and you can't wait for it tonight, I want to know who you are. I'm not going to pick on you or anything like that. I don't know of a lot of people who are amped up or get excited for the NBA draft like they do for the NFL draft. So we got Hoops Talk coming up. We're going to obviously outdoor tidbits with our good buddy, Mr. Jake Bulk. So if you have any questions that you would like answered, now's your time to send them on over to a Wisconsin conservation warden. So you got to do it now. Get them in now. Best way to do that is hit me up with a text on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line, okay? So if you got any questions for Jake, send those on over. Before that, maybe you've already checked it out yesterday on the latest edition of the Man Cave podcast, brought to you by our good friends from Hy-Vee and Toyson Ford. But a gentleman by the name of Joe Swanson, maybe you've heard of him. Maybe if you are a Blue Gold football fan, you've heard of him, former Blue Gold football player. But also, he started his own fishing custom rod building business. Kind of really got it going and kicked off in his dorm room over here at UW-Eau Claire, Gold Standard Outdoors. So we had a chat with him for our podcast, but play a little bit of that coming up at about 8:05. Good transition leading right into Jake here. But if you want to listen to the full conversation, you can do so by checking out the Man Cave podcast. But a really awesome conversation to hear from a very driven and passionate young man. I'm aging myself now when I say young man. So, but nonetheless, Joe's awesome guy. So we're going to play a little bit of that from our podcast episode, so you can get a little bit of a tease and check out the full episode again wherever you get your wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts, whether it's Apple or Spotify, or right at sportstalk1051.com. We got a little receive or defer coming at you. We'll hit that up at around 7:45, our normal time. New segment as well coming up on this Thursday. Something I like to call Caught My Eye. So is there something, whether it's like a sports story, a quote, or a comment, or a story, or maybe it's a nugget, like a sports nuggets or stat or something like that. Something that has caught your eye in the last couple days, last few days. What is it? Share it with the rest of the class. Okay. Share it. There's no right or wrong answer in this, but share it with the rest of the class. Is there something that has caught your eye that you would like, kind of like a little show and tell, I guess, kind of, sort of. We're not really showing anything, but is there one of those stories out there, or maybe an interesting fact, a fun fact that that caught your eye a little bit that you'd like to share? I got mine. I'm not going to tell you what it is right now, but it is related to hoops. So, but that will hit that up coming up a little bit later on. But kind of a fun little new quick segment that we're gonna try to do here on every Thursday and such. So, but again, you can tweet, Facebook, video stream, text them, whatever works easiest for you. Okay, whatever's the best for you. So we got a lot to get to here. I'm going to change it up here a little bit just because we've been talking a lot of baseball to open up things, in the leadoff here. And Brewers losing again, dropping another series to the Diamondbacks. Offense, stinks. Offense stinks. So what else can we really say about that? We're going to chat a little bit about Adam McCulvey has a piece up at Brewers.com. What's the solution to the Brewers' offensive woes? We'll kind of hit that up and take a look at what he has to say and see whether you agree with it or not with some of the stuff on there. So we'll hit that up. But with it being the NBA draft today, I should say tonight, and with the Celtics making a big move to try to bolster their roster to get back to the NBA Finals and to win the NBA Finals, what should the Bucks do? Should they do anything to counter, what the Celtics did trading for Porzingis? If the Bucks kind of quote bring the band back together, they bring back Middleton, they bring back Brooke Lopez, Jay Crowder. If they bring back the band together, do you think that is still a team that can win an NBA championship? Do you think Adrian Griffin in his first year as a head coach can take pretty much the same exact team that the Bucks had last year and win that championship? I know it's a lot of speculation and all that sort of stuff, but that's what we do here sometimes. That's what we have to do. But do you think the Bucks have to make a counter move to what the Celtics did? Or do you think if they bring the band back together, they've got a pretty talented team that can, they'd still be the favorites in the Eastern Conference regardless of what Boston did with Porzingis here? What do you think? And do you think the Bucks should trade up, create a package to get into that first round, the back end of the first round, to get one of those quote-unquote NBA-ready wing players? Now, I know there's probably some people saying, well, why are there NBA-ready wing players available at the back end of the first round? Why are they not maybe early first-round picks? First-rounders, the early first-rounders, probably have a little bit more potential. Maybe the sky's the limit a little bit more. They could ultimately be, they might have to wait a year, maybe a couple years, but their outlook is much higher than maybe some of those back end first round ready players that can play right now. But what do you think? All right, so let's change it up here a little bit. Let's open up things and talk some hoops with the NBA draft tonight, but with the move by the Boston Celtics, which affects the Eastern Conference here, right? It affects the Eastern Conference. What should the Bucks do? And then Chris Middleton opting out. Would you sign him? I think, what was it when we talked about it the other day, about a 3-4 year deal that would average $32.5 million per year. Now you could say, well, geez, that's a lot. Let's compare it to the rest of the NBA contracts, okay? Let's use the market and compare it to the rest of the NBA contracts out there, because, well, those dudes make a lot of coin, even like bench players and that. Some do, at least. Some do. So let's get things going here. Change it up here a little bit with the leadoff, talking some hoops. NBA draft tonight. Do you want to see the Bucks be aggressive tonight? A lot of teams Seems like they're going to be moving all around the place. Will the Bucks be one of them?
Got a take on today's topics but can't call in? Then hit us up on Facebook, Twitter, or the text line and let your fingers do the talking.
The brands you trust, prices you'll like, the service you'll love every time you buy. Appliances for your home at Amundsen's.
It's grillin', chillin', and spillin' time. From grass stains to barbecue sauce, Amundsen's has you covered with hot buys from Samsung laundry sets from $14.99 while in-stock quantities last. Come to Amundsen's in Eau Claire, Chippewa Falls, Rice Lake, or Hayward, or shop us online at Amundsen'sAppliance.com.
Amundsen's.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of insane out there. In roller derby, it's not a game, it's a bout. And each jam is filled with insane drive blocks and rushing soul crushes that rip shivers through your toe stops. Pace line, pivot line, jam a grand slam, whip a scoring pass, or you're down with rink rash. Yeah, there's a whole lot of insane out there. And every Wisconsin roller derby girl knows to be insanely good on the flat track, you can't be insanely drunk. And if you can't be drunk on those wheels, you'd be super insane to roll drunk on your car's wheels. So take it from Wisconsin's best jammers, blockers, and pivots. When it comes to driving, drive sober on the road, no matter how many wheels you roll. You're back. So ladies and guys, drive sober or get pulled over. And let's reduce fatalities on Wisconsin roadways. Download the free Drive Sober app with a Find a Ride feature, awesome videos, and more at witrafficsafety.org.
Sponsored by the Wisconsin Department of Transportation.
We know summertime is a busy time for vacations, but it's also a busy time for those home projects, like replacing some windows or maybe even doing some updating to our furniture. But there's always one question that comes up. What do you do with your leftover building supplies or old furniture? It's actually really simple. Donate it to the Chippewa Valley Habitat for Humanity Restore. By donating your leftover building supplies and that couch or recliner, not only are you just getting them out of your house, but you're helping your community. You see, by your donations, you're helping keep the Restore stocked with items for others to purchase. And proceeds from those purchases go to help fund home builds for families in our area. And hey, why not stop at the Restore and check out their inventory for yourself? You might even find some building supplies that can help you with your projects, or find that new kitchen table that would look perfect in your home. So if you have something that you would like to donate, or you want to do a little shopping yourself, check out the Chippewa Valley Habitat for Humanity Restore, located at 145 North Claremont Avenue in Eau Claire.
The Shoe Doctor is known for quality footwear. Remember, the Shoe Doctor can keep your feet comfortable during all the different outdoor weather and activities here in the Chippewa Valley. Work boots, casual shoes, sandals, and more from brands you trust like Keen, Merrill, Chaco, and Dansko, and that's just to name a few. Located on Claremont Avenue in Eau Claire, you can also visit them online at ShoeDoctorFootwear.com. The Shoe Doctor, quality footwear for work, sport, and fun.
The 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline is here and ready to help. Anyone can call or text 988 or chat via 988wisconsin.org to get connected to a trained Lifeline counselor. Trained counselors are here to support anyone experiencing a suicidal, mental health, or substance use crisis. You can also contact 988 if you are concerned about someone. 988 is confidential and free to all Wisconsin residents. 988 24/7. Call, text, chat. Here to support you. Sponsored by the Wisconsin Department of Health Services.
Get ready to save half with half-off deals. A great way for you to get goods and services that you will love, and you don't have to pay full price. Start saving this Friday, June 23rd, with Carl's Barbecue Express. Be ready with your credit or debit card and get ready to save with this week's half-off deals. For more details and to find out about all the savings, just go to aroundthe715.com.
This is Scott Basak, owner of Colfax Chevrolet. We have a fantastic selection of vehicles in stock, and if you don't see what you're looking for, we will find it for you. We strive to provide an excellent customer experience, so stop in and see what makes Colfax Chevrolet different. Visit both of our lots in downtown Colfax, and for a buying experience completely online, visit colfaxchev.com. It's always a fantastic day at Colfax Chevrolet.
The latest sports news, scores, opinion, and commentary. If that's not enough, you should seek professional help. The Dan Kasper Show.
we are approaching just a little over a month away from the 3rd annual Kasper Classic. So if you haven't gotten your team in now, your two-person team, head on over to sportstalk1051.com. $90 per team, which is just $45 per person. But that includes 9 holes with a cart, 3 drink tickets per person, a lunch provided by our good friends from Hy-Vee, which I'm sure Bob's going to be going for steak night tonight for Thursday.
Thursday night, best deal in town, $10.
Exactly.
Steak, a nice steak and taters and green beans. Ugh,
Gotta thank the G-Man for dropping off some raffle stuff for the events.
Oh, good. Yeah, he's always there, and I know the America League had theirs, and he was there with a donate. Oh,
Christian Watson jersey from Shields. We got a Giannis jersey from Shields.
Good deal.
And a stitched Aaron Jones jersey.
Wow.
Shields,
those ought to bring some cash to help the effort.
Oh, yeah. So
that's good.
Again, big thanks. Packers donated something. Rumor has it I'm getting something from the Brewers, too. So
good.
We've got some stuff coming.
Maybe it's their bats. They're not using them.
That could be it, too. You never know. So, but big thanks, G-Man, of course, and he is wondering, and I was wondering the same thing, but he already texted in if we're going to crack open a bottle since we didn't of wine last week.
Well, last week we got off schedule.
We did. So,
speaking of that, we got so close. We both had Rory to win the
I
US
know, right?
Open. Man.
And who else did we say that we wanted to finish really well? Ricky Fowler.
Yep. Really. And I'm telling you, I feel so bad for him. He just doesn't have the cojones to finish or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. But, boy, that guy, I mean, Wyndham Clark, give him all the credit in the world. He stood up in the face of all those guys coming after him, and he held them off. I mean, that last putt he made 59 feet, and he was maybe a foot away or something.
And you saw the crowd like running up to go around.
Looked like the British Open.
Yeah. And I just, the image I have is like Rory looking back like, what the heck's going on here? But it's like that pressure. We're all, I was talking about it. You're going up, you're getting ready to tee off 18. Rory's the clubhouse leader by, you're up by 1. To have that pressure, all eyes on you. That's got to be one of the most pressure-packed, mentally challenging situations in the world, knowing that a guy like Rory's waiting for you to screw up by just 1 stroke.
Yep.
And you got to finish that thing strong.
And he did.
Yep, he did. So
and Rory, how many putts did he lip out? I mean, he could have won that by 2 or 3 or 4 strokes. These lip out putts that he had would have gone down. I mean, Wyndham Clark had a great week, great putting week, and
good story too. If you don't know the background story of him,
his mother. It's losing his mother here a few years ago, and she told him to go for it. He was going to quit golf, and because of devastation, he said, "No, go for your goals."
Yep.
And by golly,
do something big.
And you watch that, and you watched him. And one of the first things he did when he won it, he looked up at the sky, just a quick glance up, and you know what it was all about.
Mm-hmm.
So, congratulations. It was a great story for Wyndham Clark to win the Open. Rory was right there. Scotty Scheffler, the same thing, couldn't get a putt to drop.
Yep.
I mean, but that's the life of professional golfers.
Yep. It looked like there's going to be some scoring records after that first round, though.
Man. Yeah,
62 and all that.
10 under. Yeah. What was the winner? 11 under.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that says something about how the golf course, the USA course, can get tightened up. And Liv didn't do worth a blank.
Hey, before we get into it, I do want to give a shout out to the Express. We were at because of the doubleheader yesterday.
Yeah.
I got to give a shout out to the kiddos because it's Kids Day for the first game at 11:05. You want to talk about creating an environment there? Those kids, when you hear the organ play, dun 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 dun. Those kids were banging the bleachers to the tune of that and making it like it was like, a loud environment and all that. So shout out to all those kids that were there.
We were there the night before. We had Wax Night, our sister station, WAXX night at the ballpark. And, great victory, the 3-run home run in the 8th inning or something like that. They won it 5-2 over Rochester. And I talked to Craig Toyson, who now owns it. Talked to him for about 15, 20 minutes. Had a great talk. And, boy, he's got a great outlook, great perspective on owning the Express and looking forward to hopefully being involved, he said, in the girls softball, women's softball, however you want to do it, coming into the Northwood League. I said, well, how many teams are they talking about? And he said, I don't know for sure, but I think they might start off with about 4. But he said, you look at it, there's no place for, college girls in the summertime. Yep. There are no real one league, and it's kind of an iffy thing. I think it's down in Florida. I said, who wants to go to Florida in the summertime to play ball? Come up here. So he's excited about that and excited about, having things going on at Carson Park. So I think the Express and baseball in Eau Claire, starting with the Express but working its way down, is in good hands.
Oh, yeah. Craig's a regular on here every Tuesday.
Yeah,
so
good guy.
Good group over there, him and Sammy, general manager.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, we all know and love Dale too. So.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, it was fun taking Hudson over there. He made sure to spend a lot of Dad's money too. So in the pro shop. So
good deal.
But he loves baseball. He was sitting there and enjoying every minute of it. But I had to give a shout out to those kiddos getting that loud environment over there too. So that was really cool. So
these players are great. We were out there when we were out in the fan deck, and we had the first seats right there and the fence right behind the bullpen. So I was kind of over the fence talking to some of these young men from Mankato and different schools that they have come to play for the Express, and just what nice young men.
Oh yeah, like Hudson's got a favorite, DQ, but he spotted him right away, and because he caught Hudson's first pitch, so that's like Hudson's favorite player.
Oh, absolutely.
So he saw DQ right away yesterday.
Maybe if he threw the ball to me, he'd like me a little bit
probably.
more.
He still might not talk to you.
For whatever reason, he sees me.
You're not the only one. You're not the only one. If it was at our house, it would be different if it's on his own turf, sort of thing. So,
but good. I'm glad they had a lot of kids out there yesterday.
Gosh, yeah.
What a beautiful day for baseball. My goodness.
Couldn't ask for a better one, right? And those kids were awesome. So I wanted to give a nice shout out to those kids.
You bet.
Creating that ballpark-like environment.
That's what it's all about. Start them young.
Mm-hmm. So, and, not to toot it too, but the Express were really nice because Hudson's birthday's on Monday.
Oh.
So they got him signed Broken Bat by his favorite players on there. So
good deal. Good deal.
They know how to do the kiddos right.
Baseball is a kid, still a game that kids can play. Football is a wonderful game. Basketball, you can play that in the driveway or wherever. But baseball is still America's national pastime.
It's I gotta say too, just like being at more games in the Express. The one thing I really miss because we were sitting behind them, so being in a dugout. Hanging out with the ball with your team in the dugout because you can hear the conversations and the, giving a hard time to the other guy on base or something like that. But just being involved, like sitting in the dugout, I miss that feeling. Like everybody talks about the locker room and that. I kind of miss sitting in the dugout with everybody, with all the guys in there.
Oh yeah, that's it depends on what level you're at. Coach and helping coach the little guys when they're 6, 7, 8, 9 years old, and a lot of them, you got different attention levels, so to speak. Some are really focused on the game. Others are there just to screw around with their buddies. And, and you appreciate it all. I mean, at the time, you think that kid he doesn't know, he doesn't want to be here. He doesn't care if he's here or at the pool or in the backyard or whatever. But that's what's so nice about it. It's not that strict. You got to have your nose to the grindstone. And then they're in the dugout and they're, tying some guy's shoes together or doing something. But no, baseball is still a grand old game. And I'm glad people are turning out to enjoy it, whether it's the Northern League, the Chippewa River League,
Legion
Little
Ball.
League, Legion Ball, Little League, whatever it might be. It's great. It's great.
Yep. So the Express at 500 right now, but it's their division with the Great Plains East. You got a 3-way tie for first place right now between Thunder Bay, Duluth, and Rochester, and the Express sitting at 500, just 2 games back from first place. So it's really tight. But you look at this, so the Express have a chance to make up some ground here with those teams because here's your schedule. At Rochester today, back home Friday and Saturday against Rochester and Duluth. Then they got Thunder Bay with a couple, actually 4 games in a row starting next week. So really good opportunity for this team to make up some ground.
And I would think going from here on out, the College World Series is down to the last couple of teams. So the teams that were in the regionals and super regionals, they're gone their separate ways for the summer. So I would think the rosters are getting pretty full now.
When we chatted with Craig on Tuesday, he mentioned the Stanford guys were coming now too. So be fully loaded and ready to go there.
Yeah, because Stanford had a good season.
Yep. And like he said too, because California schools, because you mentioned Cal Poly, they're a little bit different, where even if they're out of it, kids can't come until the last day of school.
Yeah, okay.
So it's a little bit different that way. Even if they're not in it, they still can't come until the school date is done. So that's why it took a little bit for some of those other guys.
There still is such a thing as a student athlete, huh?
Right, exactly. So we'll talk some Brewers coming up here in just a little bit, but I wanted to switch gears up here just a skosh with the NBA draft tonight. Not to really break down the draft because we don't know what the heck's going to happen. Bucks only have one pick, and it's late in the second round.
This is the draft of all the major sports where anything can happen, really and truly.
Some teams value
outside of the first pick.
Yeah. Some teams value first-round picks. Some just don't even give a rip. It depends on where you're at, if you're a contender or anything like that. But last night we had the big move, the big trade with the Celtics. Acquiring Kristaps.
Didn't hear that.
Yeah, they acquired Kristaps Porzingis. Now, initially, it was a 3-team deal that involved the Clippers, and Malcolm Brogdon was getting sent to the Clippers, but it apparently changed overnight. They still got Kristaps Porzingis, but now they're sending Marcus Smart to the Memphis Grizzlies in this 3-team deal. So as of now, looks like Brogdon is staying with the Celtics, but the Celtics making that big move and bringing in Kristaps Porzingis. Also, it was reported last night. No big surprise. Chris Middleton has opted out of his contract, a $40 million option, so he will become a free agent. But again, a lot of expectation is he still probably will come back to Milwaukee on a longer term deal, but a little bit cheaper at that point too. So, with the Celtics making a move like that, is it more important now for the Bucks to counter that and make some more moves on this roster? Can they even do that?
Well, I don't know. It depends on is Brooks Lopez gone. I think we all agree that we'd sure like to see him back. I mean, he's getting older. There's no question about that. And Jay Crowder, what's going to happen to Jay Crowder? We talked earlier about Budenholzer. That might have been one of the strikes against him. They got Jay Crowder, didn't use him.
You trade 5 second-round picks, and you don't even use
him. You don't
him.
use the guy. And Crowder said, I don't know what they want me for.
Yeah.
I don't know what they want me to do. So Budenholzer obviously wasn't a very good communicator because he didn't let Crowder know why he wasn't playing, or if he was playing when he did get it, what he wanted him to do. Right. And I think that hurt. I think that hurt him in the playoffs. Because I think we were all kind of excited. I mean, it's not like you're getting Michael Jordan. No. But Jay Crowder was a guy that could give you some help.
And he was known for being a defender.
Yeah, and he never got a chance.
No.
Put him on Jimmy Butler.
Right. And that's where I kind of wonder, too, is Jay Crowder, or should he be more priority? Because you bring in a defensive-minded head coach. So I would like him back for another year because I want to see him with a defensive-minded head coach. And the fact that you gave up 5 second-round picks for the guy.
Yeah, and I don't know. The guys, I think Bryson Allen is probably gone.
Grayson Allen.
Or Grayson Allen, sorry. And I don't know about Wesley Matthews, Connaughton, some of these other guys. I don't think they take up a lot of salary cap room. But I'm not sure. There were talk that they were going to try and get in the Beal trade negotiations.
They got close, apparently, because I don't know if you heard the rumor on Saturday. We kind of hit it up on Monday, but to recap, so he's with the Suns now. But Bucks officials did talk to Bradley Beal on Saturday because Beal has no trade clause, so he has to approve where he goes. But it got to a point that Beal and the Bucks did have a conversation on Saturday.
How did it go? Obviously not the way
apparently it sounded like it was down to a couple teams, and then all of a sudden the way it was worded was like finally the Bucks came up with a package that the Wizards were satisfied with, and then they said, okay, now go talk to Bradley Beal, sort of thing. So I'm assuming, Beal, there is what was it? I think Beal's agent, his dad or his son is like a CEO of the Suns. So people are kind of making the connection with that way there too. But I would put them, obviously the Bucks got to a point where they were talking to Bradley Beal and trying to sell him on coming to Milwaukee. So would that have meant Drew Holiday being gone? possibly. I don't know, but they were
I
close.
like Drew Holiday.
I do too. So I don't know what that deal would have looked like because they don't have any first rounders to trade at this point. But I mean, these are your own Bucks right now. Only have 7 players under contract.
Yeah, and you can't stand pat. You got to make some kind of a move, and not a move just to make a move. You got to make a move to get better. The Celtics have done it. The Suns have done it. I don't know what Denver's going to do, if anything, if they're going to stand pat.
I think they just got another first-round pick.
Yeah, so they're obviously looking to upgrade even more. So the Bucks can't afford to stand pat.
So these are your players that are currently under contract for the Bucks: Giannis, Drew Holiday, Bobby Portis, Pat Connaughton, Grayson Allen, Marjon Beauchamp, and Javon Carter has a player option that I think he's going to opt out of too, because right now it's at $2.3 million, and he's probably going to get more on the open market right now. So really, truly 6 hardcore players. That's it under contract for the Bucks right now.
Yeah, and of course that's nobody makes just a trade for a trade. Now you got to have multiple teams involved. You got to have matching dollars on the contracts. I mean,
the NBA trades are so confusing to follow.
For the general managers to make trades that make their teams better, they're good.
Yeah, it's not straight up like, okay, we're going to get this player, kind of like the NFL draft trade value chart sort of thing, to factor in with the money matches and all that stuff, and like picks that are probably 10 years down the road, but it's a lottery protected pick. And
not like the old days where Ernie Broglio for Lou Brock, the Cardinals and the Cubs, player for player. Now it's got to be matching contracts. You got to have the matching numbers and this and that and the other things.
But if it's a top 3 pick, it's not that. Then it's got to be 2 years later. Oh, good Lord.
I think the NBA is more complicated than other leagues.
I would agree with that, even when it comes to like contracts.
Yeah.
I know they got like the bird rights and all that, which is just I'd rather talk NFL salary cap and try to explain that than try to figure out what's going on with the NBA.
And that's not easy either.
Exactly. So, but I don't know I don't know exactly what the Bucks are, what they can do. I think one thing though is, a guy like Marjon Beauchamp has to probably get a bigger role this year. First round pick from last year. He started a few games, played in, I think it was 51. And that's the thing too. It's like we talked about Budenholzer. How much do you factor in, okay, Beauchamp, played 51 games, and I know people are kind of down on it. But again, it's the Budenholzer factor maybe. How much can you assess how the player did if there was maybe a discord with the coach?
Yeah, and how many times you see, practice is different from a game. And, after a while, if you're not playing, you're the first-round draft choice, you're not playing, you're only getting 51 of the 80-plus games they play, practice does get to be a drag. And if you don't get a chance to get in the game where you really, you really get a sweat up and really do something. So, and I don't know, the kids still got to be motivated, but you look back and kind of review the season, and they finished first in the Eastern Division, but could you and I coach this team to first place? Because Budenholzer was not a strategist, as we found out. He was not a strategy guy to adjust on the fly. It shows in that Miami series. I think, you and I could have coached that team to a 4-1 loss, but he didn't, like we talked earlier, he didn't use Crowder. I'd have used Crowder on Jimmy Butler. Even if he fouls out, Jimmy Butler's going to have a couple of bruises on him.
Yeah.
But it was so easy for him against Milwaukee.
Getting in the middle of the lane, that's where his game's at.
Nobody put a body on him. And in the NBA, they say, basketball, especially at that level, is a contact sport. And if you don't get a body on these guys, as great as they are, they're going to kill you. They're just too good. And why he didn't use Jay Crowder and some of the other things, why he didn't use the first-round draft choice, when Middleton was out. And I think there were a lot of questions about his strategy and his maybe lack thereof ability to develop strategy as the season and as the playoffs went along, because they didn't get very far in the playoffs. That was a shame.
Yeah.
That was one of the most disappointing coaching efforts that I've ever seen.
No, I completely agree there. So I think now, with the Celtics doing what we all know the Celtics are one of those teams that are always going to be aggressive, right? I mean, they're going to be aggressive and trying to put together a team that's going to win a championship. And I know they've got a tough decision that they're going to have to make with Brown, because there was Jaylen Brown already debates as soon as the Celtics were out of it. Is he a guy worthy of a supermax contract and that sort of thing and whatever? But
indications are they're going to give him one.
Mm-hmm, yeah. So, I mean, he's a good player. So, I mean, they've got their three. If he stays
good players don't get supermax contract.
Well,
great players.
Some people do, whether you agree with it or not.
Yeah, well, that's true. But,
so,
they've got to determine whether he's great or just good.
Mm-hmm. So, but no, I think the Bucks will try to make a move. I just don't know what they will try to do at this point.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to look at it. But bottom line is they have to do something.
Mm-hmm. So I'm looking, because I was just kind of curious. I was reading a little bit about the Nuggets this morning, and because there was, an article where, they're also a team that's counting on some of their younger, more inexperienced players to take on bigger roles this year. So I was just kind of curious where their cap space was, and it's kind of similar to the Bucks here, but they've got. I want to make sure this is who I'm thinking actually is. I got to pull it up. It is. Okay, so looking at the 2023-24 cap holds for the Nuggets, cap holds represent, quote, placeholders for pending free agents, unsigned draft picks, offer sheets, kind of like it seems like dead money sort of thing. Richard Jefferson and DeMarcus Cousins are still on this list.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, they've got a bunch of guys on here.
Like the Bobby Bonilla contract in baseball.
It looks like it. These figures are not counted towards a team's luxury tax allocation, which is a good thing, I guess, here. But since the Nuggets are currently over the league's salary cap, these cap holds do not count against their total cap figure. Renouncing these cap holds will not afford the team any new cap space. But okay.
How much is that? How much is that cap hold for Jefferson and DeMarcus Cousins? His cousin's even still in the league. He kind of bounced around. He was kind of, he got hurt, but he was kind of a disappointment coming out of Kentucky. I believe that he was going to be a superstar.
It's only about like $2 million.
Oh, that's a drop in the bucket.
Yeah, but I was just like, saw those names pop up. I'm like, wait a minute. Wait a minute here. So, but yeah, I mean, do you get excited for the NBA draft?
No.
I used to, but now
I used to. It used to be great, but not anymore now. Because it's just the only thing is because you don't know the players anymore.
Right.
It used to be you knew the players because they were, for the most part, U.S. college kids, and now there's a lot of foreign influence, and a lot of guys play in the G League, and who follows the G League?
Right.
Scooter Henderson or whatever his name is.
Yep.
He looks like a great player, but we never saw him play in college. He plays, in the G League before 500 people in some of these gyms around the country, and he's going to be one of the top three, it looks like. But, yeah, mainly because you don't know these guys. Football, you know these guys and where they're coming out of.
Yeah.
It's like baseball. Who follows a baseball draft?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Unless there is a Bryce Harper, type of player that it's already on a Sports Illustrated cover,
right.
That sort of thing. But
no, the NBA draft, it's hard to follow.
Mm-hmm.
And it's only 2 rounds.
And then there's so many trades.
Yeah.
Then it's like, okay, so who? Because I guarantee you, when we look at the results for tomorrow, there's going to be trades like so-and-so selected so-and-so through the Raptors that came from the Magic, that came from the Warriors, that came from the Celtics, that line of trades things. And it's just like,
and
Lord.
The trajectory of some of these teams, what was it? Who drafted Kobe Bryant? Carolina?
Charlotte.
Charlotte drafted Kobe Bryant. If he stays in Charlotte rather than goes to the Lakers, does that change? Obviously, it would change the history of that team.
Mm-hmm.
And he went to the Lakers, and of course, the story is told.
Vlade Divac and Kobe Bryant trade right there.
Yeah, there you go.
Good old Vlade. But no. Speaking of that, let's take a quick break. But I got a new thing I want to. It's kind of like a new segment called Caught My Eye. So like a stat, nugget, story, or comment, quote, or whatever. This was related to the draft here a little bit, but this is gonna. I want to see your reaction from a quote from a player who's gonna get drafted tonight. See what you say. So we'll take a quick break, and then we'll finish up the first hour coming up in just a couple minutes.
The Dan Kasper Show will be right back.
The Shoe Doctor is known for quality footwear. Remember, the Shoe Doctor can keep your feet comfortable during all the different outdoor weather and activities here in the Chippewa Valley. Work boots, casual shoes, sandals, and more from brands you trust like Keen, Merrill, Chaco, and Dansko, and that's just to name a few. Located on Claremont Avenue in Eau Claire, you can also visit them online at shoedoctorfootwear.com. The Shoe Doctor, quality footwear for work, sport, and fun.
One person can make a difference in someone's life, and that person can be you that's listening right now. How? Well, you can make a difference in one's life by supporting the Chippewa Valley Habitat for Humanity. And the best part about supporting the Chippewa Valley Habitat for Humanity is that you can help make a difference in someone's life in a few different ways. Like there's donating to the Restore. You have a couch, desk, or leftover building supplies that you don't know what to do with? Well, by donating them to the Restore, you're helping keep their shelves stocked for items for customers to purchase, and proceeds of those purchases go to help fund home builds in our area. And that's the second part. By shopping at the Restore, those proceeds go to help families in need in our area. Plus, you never know what kind of treasures you may find. And you can also volunteer with home builds, home repairs, and fundraising with Chippewa Valley Habitat for Humanity. Yes, you can absolutely make a difference in someone's life. Just visit cvh4h.org to learn more.
If Culligan isn't treating your home's water, you likely have water problems all around you, like hard-to-clean chalky residue on your shower, faucets, and bath, stains around your sink drains, spots on your dishes and glassware, plus dull, dried-out hair and skin, and problems you don't see, like scaly buildup in the water heater and pipes. But have no fear. You're in the clear with Culligan Products and Service. For all your residential and commercial water filtration needs,
visit CulliganH2O.com for your local Culligan water dealer.
The teen years are a great time for your child to gain practical experience in managing finances. Perhaps he or she already has a summer job lined up. A free checking account at Dairy State Bank can help teens learn to set a budget, track spending, use a debit card, make deposits, and more. Plus, parents are account co-owners and have the ability to supervise the learning process. Give them a call today. Dairy State Bank, member FDIC.
Banking on relationships, Dairy State.
Service Master of Chippewa Valley is your local expert when it comes to fire and water damage, carpet and air duct cleaning, mold remediation, and trauma. They're when you need them, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Trust comes in the yellow truck. Learn more at ServiceMasterChippewaValley.com.
I'd like to get real with you for a moment. All across the country and even in our town, there are people who have to go without. Perhaps even you, having to go without being able to hear parts of the Dan Kasper Show. It's tragic, but there is help. You can listen to segments from Dan's show and new content on the Man Cave podcast. Check it out for yourself on your favorite podcasting platform.
No big surprise, but just breaking right now, the Yukon Huskies have locked up their men's basketball coach, Dan Hurley, on a 6-year contract that will guarantee him nearly $33 million and elevate him among the nation's highest paid coaches. No big surprise after coming off of a national championship.
Yeah,
getting a new deal over there. So
that's a good thing. And what a change. You know, Connecticut, that old Big East or whatever it was, broke up in Connecticut. Was always in the run. Mm-hmm. And then they went into a smaller conference and they were just relegated to, just almost small school status. And they get back in a major conference and here they are again.
Yep. So, all right, what caught my eye here? So Brandon Miller might be the 2nd overall pick tonight, might be the 3rd overall pick. He's a top 3 pick, kid from Alabama. Well, he He made an interesting statement the other day. Don't know if you heard it, but he had a take on the GOAT debate between LeBron James and Jordan.
Oh, he did?
He didn't pick either one of those guys.
Because he's young. Although he's seen LeBron play, obviously. But
my GOAT of basketball is Paul George. I grew up watching him, so it was never just LeBron. Paul George is his go to basketball.
Well, I think he's lost a little credibility right now.
That's what
he's lost a little credibility as far as people coming to him for comments on some important issues in basketball.
I'll play the clip here so you can kind of hear the context just a little bit here, but. Or not. You know, I actually don't think LeBron is the go to basketball. Might go to basketball. Jordan.
He won't be a general manager for talent evaluation anytime soon.
Yeah, there's a difference, but see, not to pick on the kid or anything like that. There's a difference between your favorite player and one of your players that you liked instead of saying he's the GOAT.
That's why for me, Kareem has always been special to me because he and I are the same age, and he's got more claim to being the GOAT than Paul George.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like for me, when I was in 5th grade, I would argue that Penny was better than Jordan. But I mean, come on, now I'm a little bit older, and I'm not going to go on that hill and say, well, Penny was more of a GOAT than Jordan. Penny was more my favorite player over Jordan at that time. But
you look at some of those guys. Penny Hardaway is a good example. If he hadn't gotten hurt,
that knee injury,
it almost literally stopped his career right now.
Mm-hmm.
It really did. It was that bad.
I still had for all you trading card enthusiasts, when we got the price guides before everything was internet, you get like a price guide magazine, and I had one on the cover. It was Penny on there doing a finger roll saying the next Jordan ? Well, everybody compared to who is the next Jordan, but
absolutely. My
5th grade teacher at that time was a huge Bulls fan, so I remember giving her some crap about that. She had a Dennis Rodman poster in our classroom. Shout out to Mrs. Coyle.
In a wedding dress or
no. Her husband was the Jordan fan, and they were both Bulls fans, and she was she was the Rodman one, I guess. But Rodman poster was up in her classroom, 5th grade classroom. So, but shout out Mrs. Coyle. So there you go. But yeah,
and that's one debate that. Who's the greatest baseball player of all time, and, is it Babe Ruth? Is it, you and I discussed this, and,
if Griffey would have stayed healthy.
Yeah, Ken Griffey Jr. But in basketball, it's Jordan and LeBron.
Mm-hmm. Is hockey the easiest one? Wayne Gretzky? Gordie Howe's in there maybe a little bit too, but.
It probably is, yeah.
I think it is.
Yeah, I think it is too. Yeah.
That's the kind of the easiest, or like the majority would be clearly Wayne Gretzky.
Yeah.
Because even football, I mean, I think majority will probably go Brady, but there's going to be some be like, but is he the most that for whatever? And I get it, I should say, but like when it comes to football and GOAT ones, you'll have some people say, well, Brady wasn't the most talented one, and that goes into that whole debate. Which do you prioritize more? Is it championships? Is it talent? The whole thing on there. Peyton's got the most MVPs.
But you look at it, and Jim Brown has to be considered. He only played 9 years. Brady played 20-some years. Jim Brown played 9 years, and he was the leading rusher for years and years and years until we went to 14, 16, 18 games. And, these guys had more chances to rack up the yards. But Jim Brown has to be in the discussion of the greatest football player of all time.
I would agree with that. Yep. I know when we did our all-time NFL draft during COVID, I had the first overall pick, and he was my pick.
Yeah,
was Jim Brown.
But he doesn't get mentioned in that. We lost him recently, unfortunately. But and you watch film of the guy.
Yeah,
he was just a monster run. He didn't. Granted, he didn't run into guys like today, the guys that are 6'5", 320 pounds and can run like a deer. the defensive linemen weren't that big in his era, but he was the dominating player of that era by far.
Agreed. I would agree. Yep. Even offensive linemen weren't that big. Look at Fuzzy Thurston. What was he, like 250, 240 or something like that?
Yeah, I don't know if he was
that might be
big.
pushing it.
Yeah, I don't know if he was that big.
Maybe even 230 or something. I don't know.
These guys, linemen.
That's wide receiver weight.
Yeah, if you're not 290 and up, you're not an offensive lineman.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a center can get by with being 260, but guards and tackles, you got to be big boys.
Yep, absolutely. All right, we already got 1 hour in, so next hour we'll kick it off with some sports nuggets, then get into a little baseball talk here, and then receive or defer coming up a little bit later on. We'll be back after these quick news updates.
WAYY Eau Claire, W286CK Eau Claire, Sports Talk 105.1 and 790 AM. From the 715 newsroom, it's Morgan McCarthy with your news on Sports Talk 105.1
along Knightsburg Road. This was about 1:30 yesterday afternoon. Police Chief Adam Kreutzmann says the 2 occupants of a prop plane were taken to a nearby hospital to be treated for minor injuries. The chief says a parked minivan was damaged, though no homes were hit. Well, we're getting used to hearing this now, but as you head out today, that air quality, again, something the DNR is warning about. And when it comes to an air quality alert, it's most of the state that's going to experience that, as the whole state is under an air quality advisory for ozone, and it kicked in yesterday. It'll run until late Friday night. National Weather Service says current weather conditions mixed with wildfire smoke from Canada means enhanced surface ozone production heading into the weekend. The peak zone concentrations will be in from 10 a.m. until 10 p.m. The air quality index, that's expected to reach unhealthy levels for certain people. Heading to the Capitol, we head indoors, and behind those doors, the Wisconsin Assembly is approving a measure aimed at changing the way liquor regulations are handled across our state. AB 304 passed with broad support and a 90-4 vote yesterday. The bill would create a statewide bartending license. It would also establish a new division in the Department of Revenue to enforce alcohol sales rules. Another thing is that it would require wedding bards to obtain a permit or license in order to serve. Now, Governor Evers is expected to sign the bill into law if it's approved by the state Senate. Well, just a heads up as you go outside today, of course, those temperatures on the rise. And yes, it's hot. Yes, it's Wisconsin. Yes, common sense. But just a reminder from health officials, as those temperatures do go, especially if you're working outside, farmers, construction workers, that kind of thing. Things like vision changes, headaches, fatigue, that can all signal some extreme signs that you need to cool down, maybe take a break or get medical attention. Just a friendly reminder there. And speaking of friendly reminders, smile, Casper.
Exposure.com says 93 million selfies are taken every day worldwide. And if you take selfies, you take about 450 every year. Millennials take them the most. Paris Hilton says she and Britney Spears invented the selfie in 2006. They didn't. The first selfie was actually taken with a real camera in 1839 by Robert Cornelius, but no one knows who he is. The royals are not allowed to take them, but you can, and there are plenty of places to post them. I'm Bree Tennis, NBC News Radio.
Around the studio, there are little Post-its everywhere with motivational messages just to kind of cheer us on during the week. If you have something to say, grab that little yellow square.
You can, and there are plenty of places to post them.
For Sports Talk 105.1, I'm Morgan McCarthy.
A lot of us starting off in the 60s this morning, and we have another rinse and repeat of yesterday on tap as we'll have abundant sunshine. However, air quality will be a bit of a concern as temperatures climb to the upper 80s and low 90s. May have that air quality sneak into that unhealthy for sensitive groups. Therefore, an air quality alert in effect until 11 p.m. on Friday. Otherwise, tonight, mostly clear, lows dipping to the mid-60s. I'm Skywarn 13 meteorologist Mike D'Andrea.
Rain or the lack thereof affecting the crops this year. Let's take a look at some farm news on Sports Talk 105.1 and AM 790 this morning. With little or no rain over the past month around the country, the U.S. Drought Monitor shows crop conditions are getting a little concerning. This week, that monitor showed 57% of the U.S. corn crop, 51% of the soybeans, 64% of the sorghum, and 50% of the winter wheat are in drought status, with major growing states like Iowa and Illinois showing big jumps in that monitor in the past week. Just last week, 45% of the corn, 39% of the beans were considered in drought status. Farm bill negotiations continue in Congress, and not all the discussions are over spending in the bill. According to DTN, the Data Transmission Network, two Midwestern senators, Joni Ernst of Iowa and Debbie Stabenow of Michigan, want to include language in the new bill that would give the USDA more power over foreign ownership of U.S. farmland. They are concerned, as are farmers, that countries like China can come in and too easily buy our land under current laws. The two senators feel such ownership is a threat to our national security, something that has gone on far too long, according to Senator Stabenow. They would like language also in the new farm bill that would prohibit foreign nationals that own U.S. farmland from participating in Farm Service Agency programs. Speaking of the new farm bill, media outlets in Washington report that House Agriculture Committee Chairman Congressman Glenn Thompson of Pennsylvania is now saying he wants his committee to vote on a new farm bill when Congress returns to Washington from their annual August recess. Thompson says he will continue to host farm bill listening sessions around the country, with one reportedly coming to Wisconsin in the next month or two. And news out of Ukraine isn't all that good for the farming industry. A new report from Kyiv's School of Economics says it could take 20 years or more for the country's farming sector to recover from the Russian invasion. Now let's look at some farm news this morning on Sports Talk 105.1 and AM 790. I'm Bob Bosold.
This update sponsored by UW Credit Union, the local Wisconsin team that's always rooting for you. Following Brewers Sunday home games, kids 14 and under can come down to the field and run the bases, presented by Aurora Healthcare. The post-game kids base run line begins along the first base line on the field level. UW Credit Union, here for every you. Join today.
Fill your shower with the fresh, clean scent of Irish Spring and those sensational Irish Spring suds. Irish Spring, when the spring hits you, you're ready. Pick up Irish Spring today.
Crank it up. Hey, are you ready today? Get up. He's on his way. He's our man. The man, the myth, the legend. That's Dan. And now, the Dan Kasper Show.
All right, second hour kicking off on this Thursday morning of June 22nd. Coming up at the back end of this hour, we're going to do a little receive or defer. And kind of leading into that, I'm throwing out the question now to get some responses, but we'll save it as part of our kickoff to receive or defer. But this is from our good friend, good listener, Big Worm. Think about this for a little bit. What Wisconsin sports fans, what are you most excited? Which one are you most excited about? The Jordan Love era to begin or the Luke Fickell era to begin? Don't you answer yet. Right there. Giving some other people some chances to chime in on that. At 8:05, we're going to play a little bit of a clip from our new podcast episode yesterday. Joe Swanson, if that name sounds familiar, he's a UW Eau Claire Blue Gold football player, just recently graduated, but he started his own business, Gold Standard Outdoors. He's a custom rod builder. Kind of, if you remember, maybe a couple of years ago, there was kind of really kicked off during COVID. He was building them in his dorm room over there.
Yeah, I remember that story.
Yeah, so Joe, we'll chat with him a little bit. We'll play a small clip of that as a tease, so you can kind of hear his background story on that, and that'll lead right into Jake Bulks at 8:30. So if you got your questions for Jake, send those on over. Conservation Warden, Mr. Jake Bulks. All right, which one did you select there, Big Boy?
A little blueberry wine this morning. Let's.
Right. He's doing the sound effects.
Effect. Let's see what we get here.
Ooh.
There you go.
Good thing you got a white shirt on.
I was going to say, that wasn't the smartest thing to do with a white shirt on. We got blueberry wine all over the place.
You missed the shirt, though. I think you're good to go. You got the sound effect.
Well, let's see what it tastes like now. I'll let you do the honors first.
All right.
There you go. And the thing is, we let the people on the stream see how fancy wine bottles that we have, the fancy label that we we have on there, the fancy label that we have.
Yeah. It says blue. That's all the blue.
We're not fancy. We're not proud. Let's see how good it is. Blueberry wine. That'll make a good song.
It's like strawberry wine, that song. Yeah.
Ooh, I think I'll have another.
Yeah, that's pretty smooth, isn't it?
That's very good.
Now you're going to have to go play bartender for the rest of the building here.
I'm going to have to, but they're going to have to wait their turn.
It's still early. Some of them are probably still sleeping.
Probably are. Man, oh man. Shank of the day. We got to get chores done.
Okay, I'm
going to go back to my nest.
Thursdays with you. Let's do some sports nuggets of the day here, brought to you by Ansay Associates. 1939, the first U.S. water ski tournament was held at Jones Beach on Long Island in New York. Let's go with 1979, former WHA teams, the Edmonton Oilers, Hartford Whalers, Quebec Nordiques, and Winnipeg Jets joined the NHL. Let's go. Eric Lindros was selected first overall by Quebec in the 1991 NHL entry draft.
And he was, at that time, one of the most highly anticipated entrants to the NHL in a long time. And he did have a good long career, but everybody thought this is the next Gretzky. Not quite, but he was good.
Yep. A lot of, I think, towards the end, too, concussions he went through, too. So.
Yeah, he did.
2003, Michelle Wee won her first USGA title at the age of 13. She was the youngest person to win any adult USGA event. 2016, the NHL Board of Governors voted unanimously to expand to 31 teams. An expansion team in Las Vegas was added and planned to begin play in the 17-18 season. That would be your now Stanley Cup champion, the Vegas Golden Knights. So those are just some of your sports nuggets of the day, brought to you again by our good friends from Ansay Associates. All right, baseball wise here, what's this? Should just mention this here too. Little Badger nugget here. The Badgers just posted that congrats to our own Rose Lavelle being named to the women's soccer team again for the Olympics. It looks like so.
Yeah, and the last time, what was it?
One of the Women's World Cup team.
One of these big tournaments. I don't know if it was World Cup. She had a big goal.
It was the other World Cup. She was. I think she got one of the awards there. I can't remember exactly what it was.
Yeah, but she scored a big goal.
Yep. So she's back on the World Cup team for this summer's World Cup. So congrats. No big surprise, but still congrats.
Absolutely, that's quite an accomplishment. There's
Representing
only
the
so many that make a team like that.
Yep, definitely.
And you think how many young girls and young boys are out playing right now trying to get that good, and how many make it? Not many.
Yep.
So congratulations to her.
How smart do you think you are, intern? You think you're a fairly smart individual?
Dumber than a rock.
Okay.
Dumber than a box of rocks.
Well, that did set up the way I wanted. I was going to see, can you help figure out what's going on with the Brewers' bats right now?
It's frustrating. Well, I mean, I don't know what's going on with it. I as much as I like Counsell as a manager, I just don't think he puts a good game plan together.
Well, and that, but I also think too, it's the players just not, the guys at the front office brought in are not playing up to they put a lot on their shoulders and they're not like Rowdy Tellez. Here's some numbers here. For June, he has just a 391 OPS this month. Owen Miller last year, who was the star, has just a 455 OPS. Willie Adames, two-time club MVP, Willie Adames, has just a 529 OPS. Brian Anderson, 565 OPS. I mean, these guys that this front office brought in aren't producing at the plate.
No, there's no question they're not producing at the plate. And then they're not, as the season goes on, they're going the wrong direction. Because they started off, pretty positive, and we were pretty excited
that April.
Yeah, this team was going to, and they're digressing, so to speak. And you watch them, and I've never seen a team that is so susceptible to sliders. I mean, it's just they get two strikes on them, and I'm the catcher for the other team. I'm calling a slider because they're going to swing at a slider in the dirt. They just do. I don't know what it is, but they really and truly are. And, of course, we watch the Brewers more than we watch other teams. So it's easy to say that, but boy, oh boy, they're susceptible to that pitch. They really are. And there's no, who would you, every team has a spark plug, so to speak, to kind of get things going. Who's the spark plug on the Brewers offensively?
Honestly, it might be Christian Yelich right now.
Yeah, well, I mean,
point,
and I don't think he's setting the world on fire, but he's doing okay. But they don't have that spark plug. They really, and there's no, I don't know, no offensive emotion type of thing on this team either.
Quick trivia here for you. So Rowdy Tellez is the team leader in home runs. Okay, he's at 12. Give me a guess on the last time he hit a home run for this ball club.
Oh boy, I couldn't tell you. It's been a while. 5th of June.
1 month from today.
No kidding.
May 22nd was the last time Rowdy Tellez hit a home run, and he's still
played
the
a lot
leader.
He's played a lot of games. He's had a lot of at bats.
Yep. No home runs in the month of June. The last one was a month from today. It was that where he went back to back. It was Houston on the 22nd, and the 21st was Tampa. But that's the last time he has hit a home run.
Yeah, you just can't do that if you're going to stay in contention. I mean, otherwise it's just futility. And that's the thing. This team has no offensive leader. They have no offensive spark plug. And, it's kind of on the manager to find one. I don't know what.
What if the pickings are slim?
Well, the pickings are slim. There's no question about that. I'm not trying to say counsel is the fault of all this at all. No. But, and you alluded to it right off the bat, the front office hasn't done this team any good by the players they've picked up and let go. And it's, but they've got to do it better. You look at Cincinnati, the young players they've got. They can find talent.
And their call-up is actually doing really well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And, you look at other teams, and they got to do better finding talent.
Well, that's what I'm kind of – and this kind of is from Adam McCulvey, Brewers.com. I'll just read this a little bit from here, and maybe this kind of talking about call-ups. This is not a problem that can be solved simply with a call-up or a trade deadline move. Among the Brewers' remaining options in AAA are their second-rated prospect, Sal Frelick, who just returned after missing 2 months with a thumb injury. Perhaps he could provide a jolt like the one the Brewers got last year from Garrett Mitchell. The Brewers also have infielder Bryce Terang at Nashville trying to get into an offensive rhythm, along with another former first-round draft pick, Keston Hiura, who was activated off the injured list on Wednesday. Brian Anderson was asked what it will take for the Brewers' in-house hitters to produce. I think guys have to trust themselves a little bit more and trust the approach that they're going to the plate with. It's believing in their bat path, their abilities, and their hands. That's where we need to go. So not a whole lot there, but that's a typical answer from a player.
Yeah, and I don't know who the hitting coach is.
Remember, they got two. They hired two of them last year. Old school and younger school versions on there. So
neither school's out, so to speak. So on that deal. But, it's just frustrating watching this team. Every once in a while they'll get a big hit like the other night when they came back from 4 runs down to beat Arizona. But then, the pitching gives up too many home runs and the hitters don't hit enough home runs. And Tellez is the perfect example.
Yeah.
And, we were hoping Yelich still, while he's okay, that's not good enough for a guy making that kind of money. Former MVP. You just can't. What's wrong with him?
Well, I mean, look at the OPS. He's actually top 10 all across Major League Baseball. These are a couple numbers from the other day. Brewers OPS by position and league rank. Catcher, and again, these were just a couple days ago, but still, catcher with Contreras and Victor Caratini. They have the 8th best OPS with a 750. First base, 25th best. Second base, 27th best. Shortstop, 27th best. Third base, top 10, 10th. Left field, Christian Yelich, 8th at a 791. Center field, 14th best. Then right field, dead last, 30th. DH, where your job is to freaking hit the ball, 29th. 29th.
The numbers don't lie. Like they say, liars can figures, but figures don't lie.
Mm-hmm.
So, that is what it is. And that's part of the problem. That's what we always say. Put pressure on the defense. You don't put pressure on the defense if you're not on base.
Right.
And so, that's things got to change. Things have to change, or the Brewers are going to be out of it by the 4th of July. not the 4th of July, but by All-Star break, we're going to have a pretty good idea of where this team is. And right now they're not trending well.
Yeah, both NL and AL Centrals are kind of a poo-poo right now.
Yeah,
But we were having some fun with that because the Twins first place with a non-winning record, first place in the AL Central.
And you can't figure in the NL Central, you can't figure St. Louis unless they are that bad. But with Goldsmith and Arenado and some of the other players, you got to figure, and they've been playing better. But you got to figure they're going to be better as the season goes along. And I don't think the Reds in Pittsburgh are going to go away. They got a lot of young talent that's excited to be doing what they're doing right now. Cincinnati just got Joey Votto back, and that's going to make a difference. Brewers better watch their P's and Q's, or they're going to be looking up at a few teams before too long. And I don't think that's a good thing. And again, it's got to get the attention of the ownership. And it's got to get the attention of the front office.
The ownership one, that's a hot button topic for a lot of Brewers fans. It'd probably be like, well, they haven't been paying attention the last couple of years, so what would get the attention now this year? Sort of. I asked the question yesterday. I'll bring it up to you. But shout out to Illini Greg, who texted this in or said this in. Brewers should be buyers for sure. It's a mindset. Get to the playoffs as many times as possible. More bites at the apple equals more chances to get hot at the right time and win it all. I know our good friend Mark, Mr. Faunus, said he is exactly right. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. You look at the Washington Nationals, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 years ago.
When they beat the Brewers in the wild card, thanks to that error.
Yeah, and they barely made the playoffs, and they won the World Series. All of a sudden, Juan Soto becomes a superstar, and that's what you got to have. You got to find some way to get you got to find an igniter. They don't have an igniter right now. Yelich is doing well. I said he's going to have to do better this year for the Brewers to be in contention. Well, the Brewers are in contention. He's doing better. But if Tellez was producing, some of these other positions, as you mentioned, when they're 27th, 29th in OPS, that doesn't put any pressure on the defense. You move that up to 15, and they've got how many more wins?
Yep.
It really does, and they're not that far away.
I know we had some listeners on the other side of that saying if the Brewers didn't weren't necessarily buyers in the last couple of years, like last year maybe being the example where they traded Hader, why should they be buyers for this year?
And that would be I was just about ready to ask that question. What makes you think they're going to be with the mindset of the management?
Right.
Up to the owners.
I have no idea how to even predict what the Brewers will do by the trade deadline.
No, I don't either.
Or what they're thinking is right now.
I would expect they would be sellers, and I would expect.
Even if they're in first or a game within first?
Yeah.
Still selling?
That's where they were last year when they got rid of Hader.
Yeah,
they were in first.
But you would say don't be a seller if they were in that position, right?
No,
I
wouldn't
want them. Right?
But I'm expecting that's what they're going to be doing. I think they're going to be looking at the books, and I think Burns, Woodruff, Peralta, Williams.
Hell, Burns' stock is going down a little bit.
Oh
too.
Yeah, I got to receiver defer on that. But he's, and I don't know what that might mean. So and that might be, are they going to trade? If they trade Burns, are they going to be as stupid as they were when they traded Hader? What do they got for a Hader? Nothing to show for Hader. Are they going to do the same thing with Burns?
The one guy they got, he's playing for Oakland right now. I think he's leading the league in stolen bases.
Yeah, putting pressure on the defense. But they just, they made some personnel decisions that have been less than desirable, less than successful. And if they are sellers and they sell and they get rid of Burns, he's having a down year. So he's not going to get as much as, if you'd have traded him last year when he was, or a year before, he's Cy Young. But now and I don't know if they are or not, but I'm just speculating here. If they trade him in a down cycle, it might be like the Hader trade. They got nobody that's helping him. No, not one person from that trade from San Diego is, let alone on the Brewers roster, but helping him.
Yeah.
And you can't do that. You and I could make a better trade than that.
Yeah, I remember Ruiz, the guy they got as part of that package in return. Then they shipped him to Oakland for the Contreras deal. He's leading the league with 39 stolen bases right now, and he's hitting 270.
Yeah, and the Brewers, I'll bet the Brewers don't have 39 stolen bases combined on everybody, and let alone anybody hitting 270.
Let me see, because the leader for the Brewers is at 16.
Is that Yelich?
That is Yelich. Let me see if I can get some
I don't
math.
know. I think Weimer stole a few bases, but
Weimer's got at least 10. I know that. 16. Joey Weimer's got 10. Owen Miller's got 9. Bryce Rang's got 9. Do they got a total for me there? So I'm gonna have to do a calculator here.
26 and 18.
It'll be close.
Yeah. Well, they'll be over 39.
Yep.
But still, in all, they're not doing it often enough to make a difference. The offense has to come around, and the pitching has to. I mean, a lot of things in this team right now have to come around, because I'm just afraid that this trend that they're in right now is going to be the long trend here on out. I don't know when they're going to get Woodruff back. I don't know what his projection
Probably
is.
after All-Star right
Yeah,
now.
well, so then you're still another couple of weeks away, and they got a lot of games in the next couple of weeks.
And you know who they play before and after the All-Star break? Right before and right after?
No, I haven't looked at the schedule.
Reds.
And Cincinnati's hot. Cincinnati is riding a wave right now. They're confident that they can't be stopped. They've got young players. They've got veteran players that are all contributing. They got good pitching. I mean, they're on a roll right now.
The series right before the All-Star break is Cincinnati, and the first series they play after the All-Star break is Cincinnati. And then at the end of July, another series against Cincinnati.
Wow.
So we might actually have a good indication, because the trade deadline's, I think, August 1st, somewhere around there. They got 3 series against Cincinnati in July. That might be the deciding factor whether they're going to be buyers or sellers.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's probably pretty accurate.
Oh boy! And then they got Atlanta mixed in there in July too. So
well, they get Woodruff back, and I don't know, Peralta. These guys have proven they're good pitchers.
Julio Teheran's pitching extremely well. He just can't get any run support whatsoever.
Well, and that's what I mean. The pitching, has been not what we're used to, but it's been decent. But there's been no offense at all. And I don't know where they're going to go to get offense at this point in time.
All right, let's take a quick break, and then I'll throw out the teaser question again for leading into our receiver defer. But this was a credit to one of our listeners, Big Worm out there. I also put it up as a Twitter poll just to get some results out there too. But I kind of know where the majority is going to go, but I'm going to add a little bit more to this, kind of a follow-up question. So what Big Worm asked was, are you more excited or most excited for the Luke Fickell era to begin or the Jordan Love era to begin? I will add another one because I think I know where the majority is going to go with this. But I'll add another one. In a 5-10-year span, let's say, which between, with the Badger football team led by Luke Fickell and the Packers football team with Jordan Love playing at quarterback, which one of those will have the most
success
or have the better chance to win a championship, let's say? If you had to pick one, does that change your answer at all a little bit?
And I'll add one too.
You'll add one too? Scare me.
Dandelion or blueberry? What do you like better?
You're listening to the Dan Kasper Show.
Price, quality, customer service. That's the big 3 I look for when I'm looking to get a big project done. And sometimes it can be hard to find all those 3 in one place. But when it comes to replacing your flooring, one place hits all 3 of my marks. Carpet City Flooring Center in Eau Claire. They hit the pricing mark because they will match or beat the competition if you happen to find a better deal elsewhere. Quality is pretty easy because they have all the best and top-of-the-line flooring options that you could ask for. They carry the best brands in carpet, tile, luxury vinyl, and more. And customer service. I could talk to you throughout this entire commercial about their customer service. It's easily one of the best, most courteous, helpful, and friendly staffs you could work with. They're with you through every step of the process, from finding the floor that fits your budget and what looks good and works best in your home or office. Taking on big projects can be a little nervous to think about, but when it comes to replacing your flooring, that nervousness goes away with the help from Carpet City Flooring Center in Eau Claire. Just visit them today at 3109 East Hamilton Avenue in Eau Claire and see for yourself.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of insane out there. In roller derby, it's not a game, it's a bout. And each jam is filled with insane drive blocks and rushing soul crushes that rip shivers through your toe stops. Pace line, pivot line, jam a grand slam, whip a scoring pass, or you're down with rink rash. Yeah, there's a whole lot of insane out there. And every Wisconsin roller derby girl knows to be insanely good on the flat track, you can't be insanely drunk. And if you can't be drunk on those wheels, you'd be super insane to roll drunk on your car's wheels. So take it from Wisconsin's best jammers, blockers, and pivots. When it comes to driving,
drive sober on the road, no matter how many wheels you roll.
Because you can't lap the pack with an OWI riding your back. So ladies and guys, drive sober or get pulled over. And let's reduce fatalities on Wisconsin roadways. Download the free Drive Sober app with a Find a Ride feature, awesome videos, and more at witrafficsafety.org.
Sponsored by the Wisconsin Department of Transportation.
Get ready to save half with half-off deals. A great way for you to get goods and services that you will love, and you don't have to pay full price. Start saving this Friday, June 23rd, with Carl's Barbecue Express. Be ready with your credit or debit card and get ready to save with this week's half-off deals. For more details and to find out about all the savings, just go to aroundthe715.com.
Economy Furniture in Chippewa Falls is something that you gotta see. The biggest selection for miles around, 2 jam-packed floors of quality. At Economy, you don't have to wait for a sale. It can be yours immediately. Everyday low prices on the best brand names, and we finance it interest-free. Furnishing the Chippewa Valley since 1950. Economy Furniture's for me.
Registration is now open for the RCU Foundation Rock the Riverfront, featuring the Charity Classic. The event will be held on Saturday, June 24th in Eau Claire's Phoenix Park. Proceeds will benefit 3 workforce development organizations. We'll have food trucks and activities for the whole family. We will be offering both in-person and virtual races for the 10K, 2-mile, half-mile, and quarter-mile. Together, let's make a positive impact. Sign up today at rcu.org/race.
This update sponsored by UW Credit Union, the local Wisconsin team that's always rooting for you. Every regular season Friday home game at American Family Field, ticketed fans 21 and over who sit in the Miller Lite beer pit in the left field loge bleachers will receive a free Brewers beer pin item, courtesy of Miller Lite. UW Credit Union, here for every you. Join today.
Have you ever thought about learning in a different kind of classroom? CVTC's 16 apprenticeship opportunities combine on-the-job training with industry experts and classroom instruction to prepare you for a successful career. Achieve your goals and sharpen your skills as you get paid to learn in the field. Start building the career of your dreams today with an apprenticeship program through CVTC and be the future of your industry. Learn more at cvtc.edu/apprenticeships.
He's smart, informed, entertaining, and he knows his sports. In other words, he's the kind of guy I'd like to settle down with in a small, cozy cabin in the woods. That is, if he was a woman with a case of cold ones. The Dan Kasper Show, weekday mornings from 6 to 9.
Well, let's be honest with y'all. I'm no Bob Vila or even Tim the Toolman Taylor. So when it comes to home improvement projects, I'm comfortable in admitting that I'm not that smartest tool in the shed. So that's why when it comes to big home projects, I need someone I can trust to complete these projects and do a job well done. That's why I fully trust the team at Carpet City Flooring Center. We've got some big flooring projects coming up for our home, and I wouldn't even know where to begin with the whole process if it wasn't for everyone at Carpet City Flooring Center. They're helping me pick out the flooring that will looks best in our home and fits in our budget. No hack jobs getting done like some of the floors in our home look like already from the previous owner. So If you're like me and just need a little bit or a lot of help when it comes to those flooring projects, don't stress it. Make it easier on yourself and visit the fine people, the good people at Carpet City Flooring Center here in Eau Claire. All right, let's kind of tease into it. Update on the poll here, the question I threw out there. And again, no surprise. I kind of figured it would go this way. We asked, big thanks to, again, listener Big Worm. Credit goes to him for posing this question out there. Wisconsin sports fans, are you most excited for the Luke Fickell era to begin or the Jordan Love era to begin? And right now, according to the people who picked on Twitter, 77.8% going with Luke Fickell, which I kind of figured that would be the majority there. I want to do a follow-up question to that. If you had to say in the next 5-10 years, which team, which program would have the most success, would you go with like a Jordan Love-led team? Do you think they have a better chance to win a Super Bowl compared to maybe the Badgers coming away with a national championship? If I asked that, would your pick change or would it stay the same? So kind of a two-parter there. But, the first question I had, I'm not surprised majority went with Luke Fickell pick. I don't know if you are.
Oh, no, I'm not surprised either, and I guess that's probably the way I would go too. But, boy, he's had hype. He's picked as, what they say, the poll I think you had on a while ago, 9th most successful coach.
Best coach, power rankings,
Power rankings in the country, and he did a good job in Cincinnati, no question about that. But, if he can compete and improve on what he did at Cincinnati with much more tools at his disposal at Madison than he had at Cincinnati, and he can improve the Badger program the way he did Cincinnati, I think he can do some pretty neat things.
I should note, too, for all the recruits that they've been getting in, yesterday was actually kind of a downer day for the Badger football program. A couple of recruits actually decommitted from Wisconsin. Tight end Rob Booker, very talented prospect from the state. He decommitted from Wisconsin, and then
he's from Wisconsin,
I believe so. Yep. And then cornerback Vernon Woodward announced he has flipped his commitment from Wisconsin to Illinois. So going a little bit further south there. So kind of mostly it's been a great offseason for the Badgers. Yeah, Rob Booker's from Waunakee. But yesterday, 2 players decommitting for whatever reasons.
Boy,
I don't know.
That's that's a walking distance to Camp Randall.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't understand what that's all about or where he's going to go or what he's doing. But that's disappointing.
So and again, kind of going. I'm not surprised. Majority going with the Luke Fickell area. We do have one from James who on the video stream said, "I'm more excited for the Love era. I'm excited for the Badgers too, but their expectations are too high. I fear a major letdown. With Love, any success will feel like a great year."
And that's the thing. He brings up a good point there. I think people are thinking Luke Fickell's going to take him to the national championship the first year. Mm-hmm. Whoa, pull the reins, folks. He's got a lot of recruiting to do. He's got a lot of building to do, the relationship building with the state coaches, high school coaches, and I don't know what the deal was with that kid from Waunakee, but that's disappointing. But it's not going to happen overnight.
Mm-hmm.
If it does, fine. But I do not expect this team to, come in there and all of a sudden win the division and go to the championship game. And, it takes time for first of all, to put your program in and find personnel that can run that program. I'm not convinced they've got a quarterback yet.
Yeah.
And if you don't have a quarterback, you're not going very far.
So maybe that kind of leads into my next one. So in the next 5-10 years, would your pick change? Like, do you think who will have more success?
I'm not sure the Packers have a quarterback yet either. That's the thing.
So which one would you trust the most to have the most success, maybe? Or better chances, maybe?
It really is tough.
Do you
think
think
the Packers, I think they're both on the right track. I think the Packers defense is better. I think Joe Barry has to be better as a coach. I think the Packers are trending in the right way with their defense. And I think Jordan Love is such a big question mark. Really and truly is, because in college, you can go recruit another kid now you can go in the portal and find somebody for next year, because a lot of teams have done that. In the pros, you can't do that. If Jordan Love isn't improving from game 1 to game 5 to game 10 to game 18, you can't go out and find somebody else that's going to step in and be the quarterback of the Packers and take them very far. So I think the Badgers have a better chance, depending on, unless Jordan Love all of a sudden shows us something that I haven't seen before in him.
Now, how should we define success for these two programs or two teams? Is it Super Bowl and national championship?
No,
should it be different for each one?
I think as you go far, not this year.
Right.
Not
say in the next 5-10 years.
5-10 years, yeah. I think, the Badgers Super Bowl or Badgers national championship, that's a tough road to go through.
Mm-hmm.
The Packers and it's, the playoffs in the NFL aren't easy either, but can Jordan Love sustain quality play? That's tough for that much. I think colleges rely on their quarterback, but you look at Ohio State, and granted they haven't won the national championship, but they've been there every year. Why? Because of their quarterbacks? Not so much. I think it's wide receivers.
Yeah, it seems like every program kind of has Georgia's defense, right?
Yeah, Georgia's defense, and you look at Alabama, they're wide receivers. You look at the wide receivers from Alabama that are in the pros that are pretty darn good. Ohio State, same thing. Ohio State's got, Fields and a couple other guys that may be good pro quarterbacks. But I think,
Yeah, we'll see about C.J. Stroud.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I think in the college game, it's not just the quarterback.
Right.
It's a lot of other guys. And I think in the pros, you look at Aaron Rodgers and, how many receivers he made.
Mm-hmm.
Look at last year with the Oakland Raiders. Devontae Adams, when he was with Green Bay and Aaron Rodgers, best receiver in football. Now, if you say who's the best receiver in football and you ask the average person, they're not going to say Devontae Adams.
I would.
Well, yeah, but I mean on a national level.
Because he had almost as many yards and actually more touchdowns last year than he did in Green Bay.
But he's not playing at a high profile. It's hard to say Green Bay's high profile, but it is with Aaron Rodgers.
Mm-hmm.
But Devontae Adams, I won't say he was off the radar, but that team was out of contention, and who's going to be his quarterback this year? I don't know.
We'll see if Jimmy G's healthy.
Yeah, exactly. So, it's a good question to bring up, and it's a lot of things to think about. But I think you can replace a quarterback in college a whole lot easier than you can a quarterback in the pros, and that's why I think the Packers have all their eggs in one basket right now.
Mm-hmm.
And if this doesn't work, now you're a down team for another 5 or 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that's the way it is in college.
Mm-hmm. So let us know what your thoughts are. Hit us up with the text on the Shoe Doctors bullpen line, 715-830-1912. Or you can vote. I also put up a new Twitter poll question under now which team will have the most success in the next 5 to 10 years, championship-wise. Right now, the leader is the Packers at that point. So I think you could be, one, excited for the Luke Fickell era to begin, but also be like, but I think the Packers in the next 10 years might have the most. If we use the benchmark as a championship, Packers might have the better chance to win a championship.
And they say defense wins championships in the NFL, and it's hard not to argue. Baltimore's defense, the Rams, when they won a couple of years ago, their defense. But still in all, Tom Brady won a lot of them because he's got a good offense.
Well, Tampa Bay won it probably when Tom Brady was their defense. I would say they won that one over to the Chiefs.
Yep.
I mean, the Chiefs didn't. Their offensive tackles were out. That's why I think Green Bay would have won that one too, but we don't need to go down that way.
No. But I just think the Packers they don't have a dominating defense like the Baltimore Ravens had with the guys that they had. And I don't think with the Rams defense, even the 49ers, great defense, but where's their offense? Quarterback still matters. And if you don't have a quarterback, and the Packers have, like I said, the Packers have all their eggs in one basket with Jordan Love. There's no backup. Jordan Love gets hurt. Who's going to be the quarterback? You might as well get somebody out of the stands.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all Jordan Love or nothing.
So is it fair? You are a Badger fan. You are a season ticket football holder fan. Would you still have the expectation that maybe not this year because it is year one, but soon after, that the expectation should be national championship?
Absolutely. You always want to shoot for the top. You don't want to say, well,
not just winning the Big Ten.
We're happy we won the division. No, that's not good enough. I mean, it's wonderful, but it's not good enough. Not in these days of such high profile, high money, high expectations sports. I mean, when you've got a transfer portal and you've got this name, image, and likeness situation, and it's interesting, like down at Madison, the football camp this year, it's the Braylon Allen football camp. So you can bet that was throwing him a bone, giving him some money, because it's never been a player's camp. It's always been a coach's camp. So, and I'm sure the players that helped coach these young kids got paid. So it's a different world out there.
Yeah. All right. Let's do a quick break, then we'll do receiver defer. So that was the tease in, but we've got a couple polls up, and you can still chime in with your picks, play along with us. I will just say that latest question I posed out there, which team will have the most success in the next 5-10 years, it's gotten 50-50 right now, 50-50 between Badgers and Packers. So, all right, let's take that break, and then we'll finish up the second hour with a little receive or defer coming up in just a couple minutes.
Got a take on today's topics but can't call in? Then hit us up on Facebook, Twitter, or the text line and let your fingers do the talking.
Now that you've gotten a few rounds of golf in, either for fun or for league, let me ask you, how's your back feeling? Or what about those weekend-long softball tournaments? How are you feeling when you show up to work on Monday mornings? Been there. You're limping around, and it's difficult to even get out of bed or your office chair. Well, stop limping around and complaining about that pain you have and do something about it. Make your appointment right now with Shepke Chiropractic. Shepke Chiropractic's goal is to work with each patient to achieve their goals and perform to their fullest potential in the capacity that their life requires. So if you're dealing with some back pain from all those extracurricular activities like golfing or playing ball, or because of all those home projects that you're working on, help relieve that back pain by making your appointment with Dr. Logan Shepke. Plus, they have 2 locations to help better serve you. Your journey to a healthier, more fulfilling life starts here at Shepke Chiropractic. Make your appointment today at one of their 2 locations by visiting ShepkeChiropractic.com. That's ShepkeChiropractic.com.
This is Scott Pasak, owner of Kofak Chevrolet. We have a fantastic selection of vehicles in stock, and if you don't see what you're looking for, we will find it for you. We strive to provide an excellent customer experience, so stop in and see what makes Kofak Chevrolet different. Visit both of our lots in downtown Colfax, and for a buying experience completely online, visit KofakChev.com. It's always a fantastic day at Kofak Chevrolet.
Save big money and get 11% off everything now at Menards. We carry a great selection of Hunter ceiling fans available in a variety of designs, colors, and features. Ceiling fans bring style, comfort, and a cooling breeze to any living area. Plus, they help save on energy costs year-round. Right now, all Hunter ceiling fans are 11% off at Menards. Good through June 25th. Savings are a mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
Service Master of Chippewa Valley is your local expert when it comes to fire and water damage, carpet and air duct cleaning, mold remediation, and trauma. They're when you need them, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Trust comes in the yellow truck. Learn more at ServiceMasterChippewaValley.com.
Get ready to save half with half-off deals. A great way for you to get goods and services that you will love, and you don't have to pay full price. Start saving this Friday, June 23rd, with Carl's Barbecue Express. Be ready with your credit or debit card and get ready to save with this week's half-off deals. For more details and to find out about all the savings, just go to aroundthe715.com.
Are you up all night tossing and turning over your business's unsuccessful online marketing strategies? Midwest Family Eau Claire's digital team can be the warm glass of milk and cozy blanket that ensure a restful, worryless night's sleep. Let our team at Midwest Family Eau Claire turn your business's digital presence into profit. Go to MidwestFamilyEauClaire.com today and find out how our integrated marketing solutions take the complexity of digital marketing out of your busy hands. MidwestFamilyEauClaire.com.
Family owned and operated, Toyson Ford is proud to serve the drivers of the Chippewa Valley with some of the most popular vehicles around Wisconsin and the country. They're committed to giving drivers from across the area the best in customer service with a top-notch selection of brand new vehicles to choose from, as well as an extensive inventory of pre-owned crossover, SUV, and trucks. Plus, with their expert finance, service, and parts centers in-house, they strive to be your one-stop dealership for all of your automotive needs. Visit them today at 1000 Chippewa Crossing Boulevard in Chippewa Falls.
Eva's wedding.
Nana's 80th.
My first interview.
Whenever I'm on the road, I wonder, where's everyone going? Every truck, bus, car, or bike, we all share the goal of going somewhere special beyond where we're driving to. So, let's work together to make sure we all get there safely. Visit www.sharetheroadsafely.gov. Paid for by the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration.
Stand by as we continue our dig for the truth and the toy at the bottom of the cereal box. Oh, got it. The Dan Kasper Show.
Last call for your questions for Mr. Jake Bolks. Text those babies on over to the Shoe Doctors bullpen line, 715-830-1912. We'll catch up with them at about 8:30 this morning. We got some optimistic Badger fans. The poll now is 62.5% believe the Badgers will have the most success in the next 5 to 10 years, championship-wise.
Good. I hope they're right.
If you want to give us a little bit more context, you can hit us up with those texts or tweets. But let's do some receive or defer to finish up the second hour.
Receive or defer. The decision is yours. Let the games begin.
Intern, honors go to you.
All right, here we go. And again, it's hard to word this because I'm not trying to take a shot at the guy, but receiver defer, you look at the Brewers overall, and the one Brewer falling below, and every player's got different ability and different capabilities and different expectations, but falling below the expectations I think Brewers fans had this year for any one Brewer, following farthest below those expectations so far, a lot of games to play yet, is Corbin Burns.
Yeah, I would say receive on there. I mean, it wasn't just Badger fans. It was national peeps that had the high expectations, right? We were talking most wins in the National League, most strikeouts, Cy Young type of category, and he hasn't lived up. He's not awful, but he hasn't been Corbin Burns level.
He was awful the last game.
It was awful the last game.
But he's just been off.
Especially this month of June. We broke down the numbers the other day, and the month of June, he's just something's not clicking. And I know some people are probably going to go back to, because a few years ago when he was just really, 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 really bad, and he ended up at the pitching lab because he was still struggling in AAA and AA. Is it a mind thing? How much did the arbitration thing affect him with his mindset and all that drama that was going on, where the Brewers reportedly kind of blamed him for not making the postseason? Remember that in the arbitration meeting? So is that screwing with his mind a little bit? I don't know. It's pure speculation, but something's not right. Something's not clicking.
But I'll tell you, and I didn't know that the Brewers kind of blamed him. He's not coming back to the Brewers. If you said that, blamed him for something like that, or an employee for something like that, where is your loyalty to that organization? So I don't blame, but I feel bad because he's a good pitcher to a great pitcher, but just not right this year. One other one, you brought it up here in the sports fact of the day, Michelle Wee. And we all know when she came out, receiver to first, she's the most disappointing professional golfer with all the hype she had for the results that she came up with. Now, she won the U.S. Women's Open once, but, there was talk when she came out that she's good enough, she could play on the men's tour, and she could do this, and she could do that. She just didn't, did she live up to her potential?
I got into some trouble in high school when I was actually talking about this topic.
Oh, really?
I shouldn't say trouble. I got into a debate because it was actually, I think it was like advanced composition where you had to do like a paper or debate or something like that. And at that time, that's when she was like, there was the talk about elevating her to the men's tournaments.
Yeah.
And my debate at that time was, let her win women's tournaments first. because, Annika Soderstrom I had no problem with, because she was the best at that time. But at that time, it was like, what did Michelle Wie accomplish? You know what I mean? Like, she was. I'm like, let's see her kind of develop and gain that experience. And I think she didn't live up to those expectations.
No, and I don't know what the reasons were, but maybe she was never that good. She was just she was a flash in the pan, is what it amounts to.
Mm-hmm.
And I have nothing against the young lady, and I'm glad she's having a successful life. And she did win the Women's U.S. Open once, but for the hype.
Hype, exactly.
She came out.
And is that her fault? Probably not.
No, it's not her fault at all. It was the media.
Yep.
But boy, oh boy, I think we all thought this gal, boy, if she could even nobody ever had consideration of a woman or a lady or a girl playing on the men's tour.
Mm-hmm.
You just can't do it.
Mm-hmm. And she won one major championship.
Yeah, won the U.S. Women's Open once.
Mm-hmm.
And I think she won one or two other tournaments.
Yeah, 5 total tour
5,
events.
yeah, and she, is she even Hall of Fame worthy? I don't think so. I don't think so either. So, disappointing, but, I'm not pointing a finger at her as a failure by any means, but the hype that she had, and there are a lot of athletes that had a lot of hype, but boy, at the time she was getting as much as anybody ever had.
Mm-hmm. Just to go back really quick, since you didn't hear about the Burns thing, I got the exact quote here when he was talking about after the arbitration. He said they won it, but when it came down to winning or losing the hearing, it was more than that for me. Burns felt like he was put, quote, in the forefront of the reason why the Brewers didn't make the postseason. Quote, that's something that probably doesn't need to be said. We can go about a hearing without having to do that. He said, obviously, it's tough to hear. It's tough to take. They're trying to do what they can to win a hearing. There's no denying that the relationship is definitely hurt from what transpired over the last couple weeks. There's really no way of getting around that.
And you've got a team sport, and you pick out one guy, which they did in that hearing, obviously, that is hurtful, and it's not forgotten.
And the differences was like, and I know for us it's a lot, but for at this level, it was a couple $100,000 between the difference of what they were, what Corbin Burns' camp would have accepted and what the Brewers were willing to give. A difference of a few $100,000.
Yeah. To keep Corbin Burns, they're going to have to really sweeten the pot, and I don't think they will. He's going to be gone. I mean, that's just basic math, and the relationship broke right there in that hearing, and it's not going to be repaired. I'd be shocked.
Yeah, he also said there was no attacking of character or the person who I was, but just some of the stuff that was said that definitely didn't need to be said is something that I think kind of disappointed everyone. So interesting strategy at that point in time. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, and if I go back into another hearing like that, I'd say, well, we could have done a lot better. I'd have been a lot better if they hadn't traded Josh Hader. The management made some horrible decisions trading Josh Hader, so we didn't have saves in games that I was ahead. And my record would have been better if the management had made better decisions about our team. This back and forth in arbitration, it's you got to be down and dirty, but unfortunately, what you get down and dirty with can come back to haunt you. And I think that's going to haunt him as far as Corbin Burns trying to re-sign him. I think he's gone.
Yeah, I do too.
I don't blame him.
I don't either. So, did you have any more before we got a minute or two left at the top here? So
that's all I got right now.
Receiver defer. The Bucs should trade in the first round tonight.
It's hard for me to say because, like I said earlier, I don't know who these players are anymore.
That's the thing. Like, the reports, there was a rumor, might have been over a week ago now, that the Bucs and a couple other teams were looking to trade in the back end of the first round because they're, quote, NBA ready wing players. I don't know who those are off the top of my head. I don't know who they're targeting, these, quote, NBA ready. I'm assuming G League college. Players that have a couple of years, but I know some people are like, well, if they're NBA ready, why are they back end? Well, the first round one's potential is probably higher and ceiling's a little bit more higher for those guys. But
it's an inexact science. Malcolm Brogdon was a second round draft pick.
Probably the best latest draft pick by the Brewers.
Yeah.
Or Bucks.
The Bucks, you bet. So, as much as they go into the statistics and this, that, and the other thing of all these guys, they miss.
Mm-hmm.
And they hit where they don't expect to hit. They never expected Giannis was going to come out the way he is now.
Yep.
If other teams would have known that, they'd have picked him earlier. I mean, there's an element of luck involved in this too, because you're dealing with human beings. You're dealing with kids.
Yep.
You really are.
Mm-hmm. I totally agree. Should we do a trivia? I don't even know the answer. I'll have to look it up, but none of you can look it up because I'm in charge here. The last Bucks player not named Giannis, that was last Bucks player drafted by the Bucks, not named Giannis to make an All-Star game with the Bucks. So it can't be somebody they drafted and made an All-Star game with a different team.
I'm running through the Bucks rosters in mind here real quick, and I'm not coming up with a name. I don't know. I can't tell you right now.
I don't think a lot of people will probably know this one. I'm looking it up right now too, so it might be a while.
Yeah, I don't know who that would be.
Might be a while.
Bobby Dandridge.
Yeah, I'm gonna look at this for the next couple minutes here. So, all right, 2 in. We got one more to go. Coming up next hour, we're gonna hear from again Joe Swanson. You might know him, former UW Eau Claire Blue Gold football player, but now in the outdoors business. You'll hear from him coming up in just a couple minutes.
WAYY Eau Claire, W286CK Eau Claire, Sports Talk 105.1 and 790 AM. From the 715 newsroom, it's Morgan McCarthy with your news on Sports Talk 105.1
along Knightsburg Road. This was about 1:30 yesterday afternoon. Police Chief Adam Kreutzmann says the 2 occupants of a prop plane were taken to a nearby hospital to be treated for minor injuries. The chief says a parked minivan was damaged, though no homes were hit. Well, we're getting used to hearing this now, but as you head out today, that air quality, again, something the DNR is warning about. And when it comes to an air quality alert, it's most of the state that's going to experience that, as the whole state is under air quality advisory for ozone, and it kicked in yesterday. It'll run until late Friday night. National Weather Service says current weather conditions mixed with wildfire smoke from Canada means enhanced surface ozone production heading into the weekend. The peak zone concentrations will be in from 10 a.m. until 10 p.m. The air quality index, that's expected to reach unhealthy levels for certain people. Heading to the Capitol, we head indoors, and behind those doors, the Wisconsin Assembly is approving a measure aimed at changing the way liquor regulations are handled across our state. AB 304 passed with broad support and a 90-4 vote yesterday. The bill would create a statewide bartending license. It would also establish a new division in the Department of Revenue to enforce alcohol sales rules. Another thing is that it would require wedding bards to obtain a permit or license in order to serve. Now, Governor Evers is expected to sign the bill into law if it's approved by the state Senate. Well, just a heads up as you go outside today, of course, those temperatures on the rise. And yes, it's hot. Yes, it's Wisconsin. Yes, common sense. But just a reminder from health officials, as those temperatures do go up, especially if you're working outside, farmers, construction workers, that kind of thing. Things like confusion, vision changes, headaches, fatigue, that can all signal some extreme signs that you need to cool down, maybe take a break or get medical attention. Just a friendly reminder there. And speaking of friendly reminders, smile, Casper.
Exposure.com says 93 million selfies are taken every day worldwide. And if you take selfies, you take about 450 every year. Millennials take them the most. Paris Hilton says she and Britney Spears invented the selfie in 2006. They didn't. The first selfie was actually taken with a real camera in 1839 by Robert Cornelius, but no one knows who he is. The royals are not allowed to take them, but you can, and there are plenty of places to post them. I'm Bree Tennis, NBC News Radio.
Around the studio, there are little Post-its everywhere with motivational messages just to kind of cheer us on during the week. If you have something to say, grab that little yellow square.
You can, and there are plenty of places to post them.
For Sports Talk 105.1, I'm Morgan McCarthy.
A lot of us starting off in the 60s this morning, and we have another rinse and repeat of yesterday on tap as we'll have abundant sunshine. However, air quality will be a bit of a concern as temperatures climb to the upper 80s and low 90s. May have that air quality sneak into that unhealthy for sensitive groups. Therefore, an air quality alert in effect until 11 p.m. on Friday. Otherwise, tonight, mostly clear, lows dipping to the mid-60s. I'm Skywarn 13 meteorologist Mike D'Andrea.
How do you begin your mornings? If you're like many people in the world, and like me, you begin it with coffee. But not just plain burnt coffee, quality coffee. coffee from Cabin Coffee in Altoona. Hot, iced, blended. Doesn't matter what your go-to style is, Cabin Coffee has something for everyone to help make your mornings go just a little bit better. And at Cabin Coffee, they even roast their own coffee, and you can get your own bag of freshly roasted and ground coffee, which is perfect for me since I'm up earlier than the majority of you. Begin your mornings just a little bit better with Cabin Coffee in Altoona.
Staples stores provide innovative products and services for small business, remote workers, and learners, even teachers and parents. Explore more at your local Staples store.
Let me ask you something. Did you name your firstborn after a football player?
Hell yeah.
Did you spend your honeymoon going to a football game?
Oh, you betcha, yeah.
Do you spend most of your free time hanging out in your man cave?
Yes!
If you answered yes to all the above, then you, my friend, are a serious sports fan just like Dan.
Yes!
This is exactly where you belong. Sports talking and BSing is what we do best.
What? Did we just become best friends? Yup.
So rise and grind, people, because the Dan Kasper Show is on the air.
You serious, Clark?
Right now.
Showtime! Woo!
All right, final hour kicking off. Final hour kicking off right now on this Thursday morning. Last call for your questions for our conservation buddy, Mr. Jake Bulks. Text those puppies on over. He'll be joining us at the bottom of the hour. We're going to hear from Mr. Joe Swanson coming up here in just a sec. Update on the 2 poll questions that we got out there. Wisconsin sports fans, are you most excited for A, the Luke Fickell era to begin, or the Jordan Love era to begin? Not close. 76.9% saying the Luke Fickell era. And the follow-up is, which team will have the most success in the next 5 to 10 years? Got some optimistic Badgers fans because it's 57.1% still going with the Badgers. So
yeah, I think it is more excitement over Luke Fickell because Jordan Love has kind of been there. He's played a few games. He hasn't been that exciting. And what Luke Fickell is doing down there seems like it's kind of exciting, putting energy in a program that was kind of losing a little gas, so to speak. And so I think he's, I think the first part of that question is, yeah, I think the most excitement is about Luke Fickell.
Receive or defer? If Jordan Love was a rookie, there'd be a little bit more excitement. Just because we don't know.
If he was a rookie, there'd be a lot of desperation because, I know what you're saying.
Yeah. Would there be a little bit more intrigue or excitement just because we don't have anything to base off of. Yeah, he was a first round pick.
Yeah. And if he had more hype, as a first round, I was surprised. I didn't know I knew the guy's name, but when they picked him in the first round, traded up with what are you doing? Who is this? What do you know about this guy that we don't? And so,
well, he was mocked to Green Bay for that first round pick. Yeah, for a few of the highly smart.
Yeah, I know it. And but I don't know. I'm hoping about hope that he can play, that Jordan Love can play. I'm not downgrading the guy or anything, but he's got a big hill to climb.
So I think I found the answer to the last Bucks player who was drafted by the Bucks and to make an all-star game with the Bucks that's not named Giannis. I think I found it.
All right.
You got to go back to the early 2000s and Michael Redd.
Michael Redd, absolutely. The shooting guard out of Ohio State.
Another guy who injuries.
Yep.
Kind of derailed the end of his career.
You're right. He was a shooter.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yep. Michael
he was
Redd, a good player. Nobody around him.
No, one-time All-Star in 2004. I was kind of wondering because he did make
a lot of money.
This other player did make the all-rookie first team, and Andrew Bogut looks like never made an all-star game, though. So remember Andrew Bogut.
Yep.
Herb Cole loved Andrew Bogut.
Yeah, he did. And we kind of got, the draft at that time, we kind of got a booby prize. We got the first pick, and there was really no outstanding players to go after like they have this year or many years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but that's I was going through the list of players. Again, has to be drafted by the Bucks and to make the All-Star game as a player for the Bucks. And
that sounds right. Michael Redd was an all-star. He was a great player, great shooter, just didn't have any help at all.
Because remember, Chris Middleton was not drafted by the Bucks. So he's doesn't count as this. Neither does Drew Holiday. Wasn't drafted by the Bucks. So there you go. A little nugget there. Been a hot minute.
I think the receiver defer. I think that right now the way it is, with so many foreign players, G League players, college players, the NBA draft is the most inexact science of all the drafts.
Mm-hmm.
I really do.
Yeah. Because it's so weird too. Like, it's that balance, and this is where you see some teams like formerly my Orlando Magic. They've just been in the crapper for a long time, and they have these high picks. But then it's like if the team's not doing well after a couple of years, then they trade those guys already.
Well, they get to the point
and they're still good,
yeah.
but they just can't win, so they end up trading more and resetting it all the time.
Yep, and these guys are in the league long enough, all of a sudden they're due a big contract. Well, you're going to give a guy a big contract for a team that's going to finish in last place or not make the playoffs. Those are tough decisions, but that's why I say it's such – the NBA is such an inexact science as far as talent evaluation.
Mm-hmm.
They're all good. They can all play the game. But I think in the NBA more than any place else, it's what's inside the guy. Because they all have they can all jump, they can all run, they can all shoot, they can do those sorts of things. But you got to want to play defense. You got to want to rebound. These guys grow up playing AAU ball. And it's the first guy across half court takes a shot is what it amounts to.
Yep.
And there's not a lot of structure to it. So the guys that are really successful in the NBA, you look at them, they're pretty tough guys.
Mm-hmm. All right. So switching gears here just for a couple minutes. Yesterday, if you haven't listened to it, it's up. The full convo is up on our the latest podcast. You can check it out on your favorite podcasting platforms or at our website, sportstalk1051.com. But a lot of you probably have already heard about Mr. Joe Swanson. He's a former Blue Gold football player. Just recently graduated college over there too. But he also already has his own business and a successful business where he is a custom rod fishing rod builder. So he builds fishing rods and sells them. The company he started is Gold Standard Outdoors. So I'm going to play a little bit of that conversation. You hear from this young man who's got an incredible drive and work ethic and passion, but local. He's here in Eau Claire, still living in Eau Claire and building his rods in Eau Claire, but was able to catch up with him for a little bit. I thought, you know what, let's play a little bit of a tease clip here, and then you can listen to the full conversation on our podcast that's up on our website. So here's a little conversation, a little snippet of our conversation with Mr. Joe Swanson. Joe, appreciate you stopping by and chatting with us a little bit.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me, Dan.
So let's start off with your business right now. Business, is that the correct term? Gold Standard Outdoors right now.
Yes, sir.
Tell us a little bit about it. What is it first?
Yeah, so we build custom fishing rods and we offer apparel as well.
Mm-hmm. You got a sweet hat on, by the way. I like that. The blue gold colors too on
Yes,
there, right?
sir. Yeah, the Roll Golds edition.
Yeah, nice.
That was a popular one with the guys. But yeah, I started when I was 12 years old with my brother, actually. And
really?
I grew up in Osceola.
Okay, yeah.
Just on the western side of the states.
Yep.
And my neighbor was a school teacher, and he taught a class, and he was a science teacher. And then in his free time, he taught a rod building class. And I went over there I think it was either 11 or 12, whatever. But I went over there as a young kid, and I absolutely hated it. My dad's like, go over, learn how to build rods. And I'm like, this sucks. I want to be out fishing or hunting or building forts or whatever. And so I went over there. I remember showing his son, my neighbor's son, the first rod I ever built. And as I was showing him, about 4 out of the 8 guides just fell off. And so I was not good right away. And I didn't really enjoy it. But over time, I got to build my own rods and started using them for myself. And I was like, oh, this is kind of sweet. And so that was middle school, and then high school, being a 3-sport athlete, I didn't have a ton of time. And then playing football at Eau Claire, didn't have a ton of time, but I just kind of built a couple per year. And then all of a sudden COVID hits, the season's canceled, nothing's really going on. And so everybody wants to go fishing. And so I started building more rods and posting about it on social media. And next thing you know, everybody and their brother wants a rod. So
nice.
Yeah, I think COVID helped us
Yeah.
a lot of ways.
So, because did I see a picture too that you were doing it in your dorm room or at UW Eau Claire too?
Yeah, yep. In my dorm room, and then I have a house that I'm about to purchase.
Nice. First time home buyer.
Yeah,
That'll boy.
Yeah, thank
Welcome
you.
to debt.
Yeah, it'll be fun. But anyways, I'm gonna buy the house I've been living in the last 3 years, and I've been building it out in my bedroom.
Okay.
So it's a larger bedroom, and it works out. And
Yeah.
epoxy in the basement, so I don't have a bunch of fumes rolling around. But
Right.
Just wake up and start building rods.
So, I mean, are we talking, for anybody who may not know, ice fishing rods, full on both? What are we talking about
Yeah,
here?
yep. I build everything from custom ultralight ice rods to musky rods, and pretty much everything in between.
Really?
Fly rods, you name it. I've probably built one for freshwater, I should say. And I haven't
Okay.
got too much in the ocean fishing yet.
When you were a kid, where did that passion come from? Was that your family, your dad kind of growing up with it? How did that begin for you?
Yep. Yeah, we had a cabin and some deer property over in Turtle Lake.
Okay. Yep.
So not too far from Eau Claire. It's kind of just a perfect distance. And yeah, going up to the cabin as a kid was one of my favorite memories, and going down to the St. Croix River and just being outside was my forte. Obviously, I love sports, playing college football, but
Yeah.
now that I'm done, all I do is just hunt and fish. And
Right.
So
So how did you balance that as you kind of mentioned, in high school, there wasn't a lot of time,
Yeah.
maybe to do that through being a 3 sport. Then you get to college and you're playing that. I mean, how were you able to balance a lot of that? Because I got to imagine, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but probably in high school, even early parts of college, did you imagine doing this for a living at that point?
No, that was my last thing on my priority list. I
Mhm.
did not want to be a custom rod builder when I was 18, 20
Mhm.
years old. And then finally when COVID hit, I realized that it's a very obtainable goal and that I really enjoy it. And I'm not a big art guy at all. I never was good at it or
Same here, man.
Yeah.
I was the only one in high school, senior and freshman art class, because I tried to avoid taking that class. I hated it, man. I can't do it.
Drawing stick figures.
Exactly. Yeah. Clay projects that fell apart. I just couldn't do it. I couldn't do it.
Yeah. So I'm not good at art, but building fishing rods is kind of my art.
Yeah.
Throwing a Packers rod together. I built one the other day for a buddy, and he
Really?
just absolutely loved it.
Okay,
Yeah.
because I'm a diehard Packers fan. Now you just really piqued my
Yeah.
interest there. So, like, you're talking green and yellow on that thing and everything.
Yeah.
Oh, you're gonna have to send me a. All right, so that's just a little bit of our convo. You can catch out the full interview on our podcast, but there's also a quick nugget because I asked him how he came up with the name Gold Standard Outdoors, and he said it actually kind of from his dad. He said the U.S. government measures standard in gold,
Mhm.
and it developed Gold Standard Outdoors that way. And his brother helps him. His brother's in the Air Force in Georgia right now, so it's just those two guys kind of working. He said he didn't even realize you can go ice fishing in New York, and he just sent out an ice fishing rod to somebody in New York the other day. Just kind of that's how wide range this has gone from him. And
Good
dude's
for him.
22, 23 years old right now.
Good for him. He's obviously not going to get married anytime soon.
Oh,
if
no.
he's building rods in his bedroom, I don't think many women are going to want to live in a bedroom with rod making going on.
He's getting married next month.
Is he really?
Yep.
Oh, good for him.
Getting married next month. There's actually a connection to that. So my old golf coach helps him build rods.
Oh, good.
And the way he got introduced with that is that his soon-to-be father-in-law was my 8th grade basketball coach in Medford, Mr.
Good.
Betcher, who's
Good.
one of the, I think, activity directors at Menominee High School right now. So
Good.
kind of a connection over that way.
Yeah, and I remember you talking about building fishing rods. I remember I get around our whole area and doing programs with FFA chapters. The FFA chapter up at Flambeau, where Jimmy Leonard went to high school, he wasn't in the FFA, but the guy that was a football coach was the FFA advisor and ag teacher, Dale Gago. And one of the things, because where they are up there at Flambeau, that's hunting, fishing territory. One of, other classes have, to where their strengths of their agriculture is and their outdoor environment. He had a rod building class, and I was up there and he was showing me the rods that they were building, and they sold them. That was their fundraiser. A lot of FFAs will sell meat and cheese and fruit fundraisers. They sold rods and reels, and they had an actual business where they, would rent canoes and things to people, but they had a rod building class up there too. So A lot of great young entrepreneurs around this area, and I hope he's successful with that. Gold Standard Outdoor, that's great.
Yep, goldstandardoutdoors.com. And he said now, too, I'm kind of giving away the whole interview here, but their new website, you can actually customize it yourself on your website. He was talking about, he's actually had family members, family members who somebody has passed away, but like words that kind of described him. He's put those on fishing rods and all that. And he might kind of give it away there too, but he might be part of our Kasper Classic. One of the raffle prizes is a custom rod that you can you can put out there too. So it was really nice of him to offer that.
I can't imagine what kind of, I'm not a rod builder, I don't know how to do it, but what kind of machines he would need to whatever he has to do to make these rods and the materials and things like that. I can't imagine him doing this in his bedroom.
Right. Yeah. If you follow his Facebook page, Gold Standard Outdoors, he looks like he's a pretty darn good fisherman. That makes me jealous. He's out there posting up pictures with those, and walleye and smallmouth look to be the top ones out there too. So, but he goes around quite a bit, and looks like he with his fiance goes with him too.
Good deal.
I believe she played college basketball for UW Eau Claire too. So
good deal.
One of the top players over there.
She better like fishing.
Right. Exactly. So, but if you want to visit his website, goldstandardoutdoors.com, Facebook page, Instagram, he said is popular for him too. And you can listen to that full conversation on our podcast over there. But just kind of, I couldn't imagine again, like 23 years old and you're already, you're starting your, but to take the risk to do something like that too.
Well, one thing about, that risk, it's not like he's got to buy a lot of trucks or a lot of major equipment. I'm sure he's got investments. There's no question about it. But this is a well thought out business that he's gotten into without, having to mortgage yourself up to, multi thousands and thousands of dollars. He's got investments, obviously, but I think he's got a good plan.
Good thing his dad told him to go over to his neighbor's house to go build some rods.
That's right.
Otherwise, he might not be doing this.
Yeah, exactly.
Always listen to dad, right?
Yeah, there you go.
Always listen to dad. So, but again, thanks to Joe. And again, you might recognize him because he did play college football for UW Eau Claire.
We wish him the best. It's going to be great.
So we're going to have him on a little bit more, kind of talking some fishing later on and all that sort of stuff. But it was just a good combo to have, and I know he's really busy with his business, so appreciate him stopping by for a few minutes.
Make for interesting podcasts rather than a lot of these people are talking. It's what they think and their speculation. This is good, interesting material.
Mm-hmm. I agree. So you're gonna get yourself a custom fishing rod now?
People say, what are you going to do when you retire? Well, the first thing I do is retire.
Yeah, I was going to say, can we stop asking you that question?
Yeah. And I say, well, I don't know if I like fishing or not because I've never done it. And I'll teach you to fish. I've had how many guys going to teach me to fish? And I say, okay, yeah, give me a call when you're going fishing sometime. Give me a call. I'll get a license and we'll go. Nobody's ever called me to go fishing.
People call Bob to go fishing.
No, I mean the guys that all the guys that go bowl all winter long, and then they're like, I go fishing, and I said, yeah, I'll take you. I've never heard anybody.
Bob's friends call Bob to go fishing. For crying out loud, the man wants to go.
I don't know if I like it or not, but
So you've got a boat, but you've never you just cruise around on the boat.
Well, I've got I do a pontoon. I got and I have a little rowboat type of thing that you put a little trolling motor on it or something, but up on the Chippewa River up there, and it's fun when you're on the river. You see fish jumping out of the water all the time, and there's some big fish out there.
You go below the dam and you see that sturgeon kind of pop up, and monsters like that gives you the heebie-jeebies.
I've seen them jump, but
a little bit.
So I don't know if I like to fish or not.
Do it the right
guys, way. And I did miss a chance one time. A guy said, he's from Montana, and he said, teach you how to fly fish. Well, I watch those guys, and and I didn't take him up on that. So that's my fault. But, but I don't know if I like fishing or not.
That's one thing on my bucket list.
I like to eat them.
Every Friday, right?
You bet.
That's one thing on my bucket list is I want to go and actually go to, whether it's Montana or something like that, and fly fish, in a trout stream up there and try and get better at it though first too.
You got to be pretty handy to handle the line the way those guys handle that line and flip that rod 4 or 5 times before they let the line go. It's that's a pretty educated fishermen that can do that efficiently.
I think there's even actually here in Eau Claire, I think they're called the Eau Claire Anglers, but they're a fly fishing adventure group.
Oh,
so
okay.
if anybody listening, you got a guy over there that wants to take them out. Because there are streams around here too.
I used to, as a kid, we used to, everybody had a cane pole.
I got one.
Yeah, you take a cane pole out and put a bobber on it, and then you sit on the shore and let that cane pole over there, and then when the bobber would pull it out, and I've caught a couple of fish that way, but I had no idea what kind of fish they were.
Hudson and I both have one because I don't remember this, but I was told that my first fishing pole that I ever used was a cane pole.
Yeah.
And so I have the original one. I just thought it was in Grandma's shed but apparently that was the first one I ever used. So when Hudson was like 2 or 3, my aunt got him a cane pole. You go to Walmart and pay $3 for one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and because your dad, I'm like, I didn't realize that was my first. So yeah, we've got a couple of them at the house. Good old fashioned cane poles.
Yeah,
over there.
My late father-in-law had some fishing rods, and I've got them in the garage. I don't know what to do with them.
Mm-hmm.
Rods and reels, but
might be some good displays over there too. Get your man cave rolling up there, man.
People say, "Oh, what'd you ever catch with that?" Not a thing.
Oh no, we'll get you out there, man. We got to get you out there. Do a little fish. Is there so you said fly fishing? Would you ever want to go like musky fishing and try to, or would you, big monster
I'd like
that?
to just go out on the river for bass and trout. Just throw a line in and catch a fish.
See what happens.
And identify fish first of all, what they are: crappies and bluegills, and largemouth bass and smallmouth bass and walleye and different things like that.
This kind of maybe leads into here a little bit when we catch up with Jake here, Mr. Jake Bolks. One of the questions that we got from a listener, I have one, but I haven't gone. I've tried it a couple times, but not really gone into it. Is this new? I don't want to say phase. That's not the right word, but this new thing, magnet fishing.
Magnet fishing?
So people will put a big magnet on and throw it over a bridge or something. And, obviously whatever sticks to the magnet, they catch. People catch bikes that people dump in there. A lot of people I haven't seen it personally. I've seen it on like social media, firearms. They'll catch and then, turn it over to the authorities because you don't know where that came from and that sort of thing. But magnet fishing is a new phase. So one person wanted me to ask Jake if there's anything that the DNR regulates on that. You have to, or if it's just something that they can go out there. So I kind of already know the answer, but I'll save it for Jake here. But it's something I would like to do a little bit more. I've got one, but I've only done it a couple times off the shore or something like that. But
never heard of it.
Yeah, I almost want to go somewhere where, like, here's where I'm thinking, and this is where my mind goes. Where were the bootleggers in the 40s where they were dumping stuff off over the bridge? And that's where, maybe getting one of those machine guns or whatever. I'm thinking like Al Capone and all that. And,
well, they used to have up north, the hideout.
Yeah. Al Capone's hideout.
Yeah, up some of those areas, going over the bridges from Chicago up to that area. There might be, they might have tossed some of their guns out.
That's what I'm thinking of.
And who knows?
Can I get something from Al Capone from that? That's where I want to go hit up those
Dillinger.
places. Dillinger, yes.
Guys. There you go.
That's what I want to do with my magnet fishing for. But that's
never heard of it.
You never heard of
No.
You should Google some videos out there. Some people really take it seriously.
Well, if they find things,
my luck, I'm hooked
Chicago, down the Chicago River. You could probably find a lot of things in the Chicago River.
There was one I just saw on Facebook. Somebody pulled up 2 like M40 machine guns in Florida in the water.
It's got to be a big magnet.
Yeah. I mean, some of these magnets are, and I've seen videos where some people actually have to dive in there to go after it because they can't pull it in.
Yeah.
Or pull it up, tie it up to their truck and pull it out. My luck, I would hook to something that's supposed to stay down there and,
on part of the bridge and pull the bridge down.
Or like some buoy and I'm sitting there struggling or whatever. And that would be my luck.
I can't imagine these magnets are cheap.
Depends on
you get hooked onto something and you can't get it out, you might lose your magnet too.
Oh yeah, and the thing is, you better know how to tie knots for that to stay on there too.
Really? No, that never heard of that.
So let's do that. Let's take a quick break and we'll get Jake up here. Has anybody ever tried magnet fishing before? I'm curious. I want to know some stuff. I love watching those videos, so send something on over. We'll be back.
The Dan Kasper Show will be right back.
The brands you trust, prices you'll like.
It's grillin', chillin', and spillin' time. Whether it's cleaning up the grass stains or the barbecue sauce or keeping the produce fresh or your favorite beverages cool, Amundsen's has you covered for appliances throughout your home or cabin, so you can do what you really want to do this summer and just chill out. Amundsen's in Eau Claire, Chippewa Falls, or Rice Lake or Hayward, or shop us online at Amundsen'sAppliance.com.
Then the best place to buy is Amundsen.
Hunters, are you looking for a brand new firearm to take with you to the woods? Or maybe you want to save a little money and are looking at getting a high quality used firearm? Whatever the case may be, if you're looking for a rifle for, say, deer hunting or shotgun for your turkey hunting adventures, look no further than Tilden Gun. Tilden Gun features a wide selection of new and used firearms. And if you're looking for a particular firearm, Tilden Gun will help you find that firearm for you. And plus, they have a wall of handguns for you to check out as well. And you know you're going to need some ammo, targets, cases, scopes, and other accessories too. Well, Tilden Gun has all the accessories you need to properly outfit your firearm to hit the woods. Tilden Gun has the biggest selection, all at the best prices in the Chippewa Valley. So here's what you do. You could visit tildengun.com to see what all Tilden Gun has to offer. And you can stop by Tilden Gun and check out their amazing shop and see what they all have in store. Visit Tilden Gun today at 12427 98th Avenue, Chippewa Falls.
It's great to be in control, right? Introducing the new My Plan from Verizon. With My Plan, you pick only the perks you want, and you save on everyone. You get exactly what you want on your phone plan and only paying for what you need. All on Verizon's award-winning 5G network. And for a limited time only, when you bring your own phones to a Verizon store, you get My Plan for just $25 a line per month for 4 unlimited welcome lines with autopay, plus taxes and fees. So keep your current device and save. Bring your phones to a Verizon store today and get My Plan for an amazing deal.
$180 promo credit per phone applied over 36 months when you add 4 new smartphone lines with your own 4G, 5G smartphone on Unlimited Welcome. Promo credit ends if eligibility requirements are no longer met. Unlimited Welcome, $30 per line for 4 lines, less $5 per line discount. Auto pay and paper-free billing required. Unlimited 5G, 4G LTE. For Unlimited Welcome plan, in times of congestion, your data may be temporarily slower than other traffic. Domestic data roaming at 2G speeds.
The Shoe Doctor is known for quality footwear. Remember, the Shoe Doctor can keep your feet comfortable during all the different outdoor weather and activities here in the Chippewa Valley. Work boots, casual shoes, sandals, and more from brands you trust like Keen, Merrill, Chaco, and Dansko, and that's just to name a few. Located on Claremont Avenue in Eau Claire, you can also visit them online at ShoeDoctorFootwear.com. The Shoe Doctor, quality footwear for work, sport, and fun.
All aboard! The Eau Claire Express are back. They're taking the field once again this summer, and you can support Eau Claire Express baseball at historic Carson Park all summer long. General admission tickets and grandstand tickets are available, and you can check out the rest of the 2023 Express schedule at eauclaireexpress.com or on their Facebook page. Enjoy summer baseball with the Eau Claire Express.
Planning those cookouts and backyard barbecues, maybe some tailgating at the ball game or weekend trips to the cabin? Well, you're going to need to stock up on the brats and the hamburgers this year, so it sounds like a trip to Mike's Star Market future. So while you're there, grab some mango brats and dill pickle with cheese and bacon brats, because sales of those brats go to help backyard dreams. Plus, grab some burgers for the grill while you're at it. Create that epic cookout this year with the best meats in the Chippewa Valley. Head to Mike's Star Market on the west side of Eau Claire today.
Sports. You love it. We love it. And quite frankly, I don't trust anyone who doesn't love it. Do you?
Is that a serious question?
The Dan Kasper Show.
Quick update before we get to Jake here on the two poll questions we have up on our Twitter pages. Scotty sports fans, are you most excited for the Luke Fickell era to begin or the Jordan Love era to begin? A little bit down, but not much. Still Luke Fickell era leading the way, 73.3%. And let's say too close to call between our second one here. Which team will have the most success in the next 5 to 10 years, championship-wise? It's gotten a little bit closer, 52.6%, sticking with the Badgers, though. A little bit more optimistic there with the Badgers. So keep voting. You can hit it up on Twitter or hit us up with some text there. It's time, though, for some outdoor tidbits.
Answering your questions and giving you the tips you need to be successful and safe in the outdoors. It's time for your outdoor tidbits. Have a question you'd like answered by Jake? Send it to us, and we'll ask for you.
All right, let's get right into it here. We'll bring in Mr. Jake Bolks, Conservation Warden, our good buddy. Jake, how you doing, bud?
I'm doing good. How are you doing today?
Not bad, man. Not bad. Hey, we were talking a little magnet fishing because somebody had texted in a question about that. I think I asked you this maybe about a year or so ago, or it's been a while, but
yeah,
it's a popular trend. I'm sure you've seen it. I watch it on Facebook because I'm curious to see what some people.
It is interesting. Sometimes I see it on the reels and different stuff on social media.
Mm-hmm. So my question, or I should say the question from the texter was, does the DNR have any rules with that? Is there any like license or any, do you guys monitor that at all? Or is it kind of a free for all at this point, I guess?
I wouldn't say it's a free for all because there are some, I guess, regulations that apply once you start doing it, but there are no licenses and there's no regulations per se on like how big your magnet is, how long the string is, where you can do it, stuff like that. So in a sense, you can go anywhere in the state without a license and magnet fish. Where some regulations start popping up is that the second that you pull anything out of that water, it's now your responsibility. So if you pull out an old bike frame or something, no tires, piece of crap type of thing, now you are responsible for disposing of that properly. You can't throw it back in the water, and you can't just leave it on the side of the bridge or the side of the river, lake. You have to take responsibility for it. Otherwise, it's a littering ticket.
So, like, if there was, my question would be, like, I was kind of talking to Bob here off the air, like, I would like to try it, going up where the bootleggers, like Al Capone, did they dump, like, a firearm or something like that in the in the riverbank? What if somebody, again, I'm sure you've seen the videos too, what if you do pull up, like, a handgun or a firearm? Do you turn that over to the fire or to the police department?
Yeah, the best thing to do right away would be to call the local police department, because potentially there could be like an open case where that firearm was used in like a robbery or some sort of violation or crime. So probably not a good thing to be carrying around or have sitting in your house if it was used in the commission of a crime. So best thing to do right away if you find anything that's odd or potentially evidence is to call the local police department to say, hey, I was out magnet fishing on the Chippewa River. I found a gun or I found something that looks like an ATM or a safe box or something. Like, you guys want to come check it out?
Right.
And they'll send someone down there because they'll probably just be as curious as we are watching the video.
Right. Yeah. Because serial numbers, if they're not filed off or anything like that. Not that I've watched so many videos on that. Like that.
Sounds like you got some experience.
No, just like I think as I was telling Bob, I thought I saw like a news article just from a few days ago. Somebody in Florida like pulled up 2 machine guns or something like that, and like the serial numbers were filed off or something like that. And it's like, oh, when you start doing that, there's a backstory to that.
Of course. Yeah. So definitely, you could go to your local lake and do it today if you wanted. What you're going to have to make sure of is that, like, you're not disturbing any like wildlife. Like if there's geese on the shoreline and they got a nest or something, you can't go trudging through or dragging your magnet through their stuff. You can't harass or anything when it comes to animals or whatnot. If you find something or you pull stuff out, whether it's weeds, whether it's wood or metal or whatever, you're responsible for throwing away. If you leave it on the shoreline or whatever, you're going to get a littering ticket. And then the other thing is, I guess like trespassing laws would apply. So if you can't get to that spot legally, you're not allowed to just walk across someone's land. And then if like the city of Eau Claire says like, hey, you're not allowed to be throwing stuff off the bridge down into like the Eau Claire or the Chippewa River because of whatever, ordinance they have, like no pedestrians or whatever, then you have to follow those rules. It doesn't trump it to allow you to do it.
I got a question to follow up on that, and then somebody just texted in one here. But really quick, so like on some of those videos too, Jake, I've seen where people will like go in the water because it's so big or so heavy, and they'll put on like snorkel stuff or whatever, or scuba stuff, and go try to retrieve it. Is there any regulations, just kind of a general question, when it comes to like scuba diving, maybe in a lake or in a river or anything like that?
Yeah, there are some regulations on that. I could not speak off them off the cuff, but they are in our boating regulations. Near the back of it, there's a whole page on like scuba diving and snorkeling. What I do know is that if you're doing it, you're supposed to have like a red and white flag. I think there's like a line through it at like a diagonal. There is some regulations with it, and it's mostly for your safety. Because if you're snorkeling around or scuba diving around and a boat doesn't know you're doing that, if you pop up randomly, there could be a boating crash or something. So there are some regulations on doing that. It's in the boating rigs. It's online. You can get them at the stores. If you're going to do that, definitely check that out before you go out there.
All right, so that's a good tip there. Question from somebody who texted in: can you ask Jake, do you need to register kayaks like you do for other boats?
No. As long as you're not going to put like a trolling motor or like an electric, little trolling motor or something on it. So in the state of Wisconsin, which it is different than Minnesota, but in the state of Wisconsin, if it has a motor on it, if you put a motor on it, no matter what the machine is or what the watercraft is, the second you put like an electric trolling motor or something small on it, it turns it into a watercraft, a motorized watercraft, which legally needs to be registered. So if you, ratchet strapped a bunch of, pieces of wood together, some pallet boards or something, and then you threw a little trolling motor on it, now it's a watercraft, and that would legally have to be registered, and you'd have to have your life jacket and everything like that. But if you're simply just going to go grab your Pelican kayak or grab a canoe or grab a paddle board and paddle around using, your arms for the paddling, then that doesn't need to be registered or anything like that.
Please tell me right before, I don't know if Bob had something there, but please tell me, Jake, you've seen somebody ratchet strap some pellet boards and stuff together and put a motor on it.
I have seen some, like, people cut trees apart, kind of like you see on survivalist shows on the TV, cut some trees together, you put them together, you tie them with rope and different things like that. To try to like make a raft, and then people will be like, oh, let's just throw a trolling motor on it, which is totally cool. It's just the second that you put anything, motorized on it, now it's a motorized watercraft. In this state, it has to be registered. So like, I do see a lot of canoes that have old registration on something, and sometimes that's because they, you throw a trolling motor on it and use it for trolling or whatever. And at that point, they need it.
Like the old skanoos, right out there, the flatbacks.
Yeah, and with that, just a quick note is just when you are on a kayak, a canoe, a paddleboard, or anything like that, you'd still have to have a life jacket. I know we've talked about it a bunch on this show, but for anyone that might be listening for the first time, or they have kids or friends, I'm seeing it a lot. No matter where I'm going, Lake Wissota, Half Moon Lake, Altoona, the Mississippi rivers, that people are taking these paddle boards out more than just around like their dock. They're going on cruises across the lake without any life jackets. And they're going to, I've been using a lot of discretion, but at some point it's like a $300 ticket. And it's a huge safety concern, because if your paddleboard pops or breaks or you fall off in the middle of Lake Wissota where it's 50 feet deep, you're in a whole world of trouble. And if you don't have a life jacket as required, that's where accidents happen. We don't want to see that. So I just like to harp on it a little bit.
So Jake, if you got a little rowboat and you don't have a license or don't have a motor on it, but got paddles that stick in the side of the boat that you paddle around,
does that need to have a license on the
No.
Okay, that doesn't. Okay. And
No.
also,
So technically, you could even take, an 18-foot Ranger out, and if the registration is expired, as long as you're sitting off the side paddling it and not running the motor, you don't need it registered.
okay. But obviously, if you have a big motorboat, you're probably going to want to run the motor. So, but if you're going under like paddle power, it never needs to be registered.
Oh, that's interesting. And also, I asked you last week about the kids wearing life jackets, but I also saw over the last time I was out, the parents were with them, but a little kid, I don't know, across the water how old they were. They look like about 10 years old. Is that legal? Let a little kid like that drive a boat?
At 10, there are some. So starting at the age of 10, there are some rules that allow like a kid, if they're accompanied and like basically the parents are sitting right there with them, to drive it.
Okay.
But like the guardian's got to have boater safety and different things like that. And then as the ages progress, like at age 10, at age 11, 12, at age 13, 14, there are different levels of, I guess, the ability they can operate a machine, or a boat, whether that's like with someone basically holding on to them, or if it's just that they're in the boat. And then at 14, they can basically start driving. If they have boater safety, they can basically drive a boat by yourself at age 14 already.
What about jet skis? Because I see a lot of young kids on jet skis.
Jet skis are 12 years old.
Okay.
And you have to have boater safety.
Gotcha. Good stuff there.
Yeah. And great questions. But yeah, it is pretty crazy, especially, it seems like the older I get, even like an 18-year-old kid looks like he's 12. So you see some of these kids driving and you're like, holy cow, they look like they're 5, and in reality they're legal, but it's just the perception,
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Jake, appreciate it as always, buddy. Thank you for answering these questions, man. Thank you to everybody for sending those on over too. So you have yourself a good weekend, bud, and we'll catch up with you next week, okay?
Yeah, that sounds great. You guys have a great one.
You too. There you go. There's Jake Bulks. I want to know.
Always has our answers.
I want to know the people who are trying to do their best Tom Sawyer and Huckleberry Finn raft building skills out there with ratchet straps and that.
Well, as we were kids, we used to be, we had, the creeks. And sometimes, you get a good heavy rain and you get the creeks are really full. We had old cement tubs, them little cement tubs, and we'd paddle those up and down the creek. And I would imagine when you're on the water, that's controlled by the DNR, whether it's a creek or a river or a lake. And, so I'm glad to hear that we were invited. Didn't have to have a registration on our cement tub.
Yeah. I want to know too, this is kind of completely off, but like, do the kids still do, putting the rope up in a tree and swinging off that and going in the river or something like that?
Oh, in different places they do, yeah. I know up, years ago up along the Chippewa River, the kids used to jump off the cliff, and unfortunately, one young person died, so they took that off, those big cliffs in the Chippewa River, and they took that off. That's not legal anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But there's some places where you go and you'll see trees that go out and they'll have the ropes out there, and that's great fun.
Yeah, I remember that as a kid, and you hear your parents talking about when they were kids, it was the same rope when they were a kid up there and all that
great
stuff.
Fun.
So I don't know. I didn't know if the younger ones out there still do that. If they think that's still cool or not.
Oh yeah, it's cool.
Or anything. So
and this kind of weather is
you
real
hang
cool.
out with a lot of those youngsters, right?
Yeah,
with the cool kids.
Yeah.
Get you out there and you're a Tarzan one there.
Oh, we used to love to do that. Oh Lord, and like I said, the weather this week, man, if you took vacation this week and got access to water, you hit a home run.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, get those water levels up though.
Yeah, we do need to do that.
Get them up. All right, let's take our final break here, and then we're gonna wrap things up. We'll be back
late already.
Yeah, man.
Wow.
You better get your fifth or sixth helping of. You're not passing this thing out. We got over half a bottle yet over here.
We'll get her taken care of.
Barkeep. Third annual Kasper Classic coming up August 4th. Just a couple weeks away, and we're just going to be a month away from that thing. Sign up your two-person scramble team by visiting sportstalk1051.com. The title belts are on their way. Title belts going to be given 2 title belts to the winning team. So each person doesn't have to fight whose house it gets to stay over. Each person from the winning team is going to get a title belt. So they're on their way. Get your two-person team in now by visiting sportstalk1051.com. Friday, August 4th, we've got a couple tea time sessions, but right now we're just opening it up for the 1 p.m. Shotgun starts over there. So big thanks to Princeton Valley for letting us hang out over there. Anybody interested in maybe donating for some raffle prizes or sponsoring a hole, and then you get your free team or you get your team included on that, hit me up, let me know, and I'll get the right people to get a hold of you. But again, big thanks to the one and only G-Man. He went over to Shields and grabbed some jerseys, Aaron Jones, Christian Watson, and Giannis, and that's going to be part of some of the raffles. The Packers sent over some raffle stuff too. I know we've got more donations and raffles coming down there too. So, but big thanks right now to our current sponsors, Hy-Vee, our good friends from Hy-Vee, who again will be helping out with the lunch like they did last year. If you were there last year, they had the grills going and fired up over there. So big thanks to Hy-Vee. We got Carpet City Flooring Center back on with us as well. We just got the sandbar hooked up over there in Chippewa. So sandbars locked under. We got Ray's Place. Shout out to Ray's Place and Dave over there. They're helping sponsor. We got the Doododge as well. Myron Construction. Big thanks to Myron Construction. Edward Jones, Kelsey Nikolai's office up there in Chippewa Falls too. So we got Service Master Clay, Service Master also helping sponsor it there too. I feel like I'm Economy Furniture and Park Ridge Distributing too. So big thanks. All proceeds going to help Backyard Dreams. You, sir, need to cool it. Keep spilling over there.
I was going to say, did you see the hole it put in your carpet?
You say we need some new carpet? I know a guy. I know a guy. Yeah. So, but just don't get it on that white pole.
This blueberry is popular. People like it.
Yeah,
that's really good stuff. So that bottle's about gone.
All right.
Won't be much left for Hudson.
That's okay. It is his birthday coming up, but you need to dive into that yet. So, good old days they might have, but back in the day.
That reminds me of the bottles like that. It reminds me of the days that I don't know. You're younger than I am, but Boone's Farm and Annie Green Springs.
Boone's Farm.
$1 a bottle. You're blind for about 3 hours after you drink it.
Boone's Farm. Oh, now I'm just thinking back to, of course, 21 and older. So.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
What to be young again, huh?
Oh man, well I don't think so. What we could get away with then wasn't, it was good, clean fun.
Yeah,
that's what it was.
Yeah,
every generation is different. But, we had our fun just like the kids nowadays are having their fun. It's just different.
Mm-hmm. Yep, well said. NBA draft is tonight. So again, no Brewers game tonight. They're going to be getting a road trip here. You won't see Milwaukee back until July 3rd. Bob's going to be at that July 6th game.
You bet I am. Taking a bus down. Got a full bus. Going to have a lot of fun.
That's the last game of that 4-game series. So it'd be nice if you talk about a 4-game sweep when you get on that bus.
I hope so.
Hopefully. So, or at least winning the series at that point. But
I got to figure out some gambling games that I can take money off these people on the bus.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Got that many people.
You do a good job on there. You've got some experience. You've got some experience, man. So
we'll put a few things together, I hope.
So you got no game tonight for the Crew. The Express are also on the road. They've been on the road quite a bit for this month, but it's a quick trip over to Rochester before they're back to Carson Park for a couple games here. But the Express sitting at 500, but just 2 games back, 3-way tie for first place.
Yeah, and they put in, kind of a new color scheme for the uniforms this year. Yeah. You bet. I think, they're,
only on our nights too.
Well,
I'm saying that's they only.
Oh, really?
Yep. The only nights that they wear are Midwest family nights.
Well, that's good.
But and they're auctioning those off.
Oh, good.
And proceeds going to Backyard
Dreams. Good deal. Yeah.
I think G-Man might need one for a wooden hanger. He might have to pick one up.
I was going to say that's about the only one he doesn't have right now.
Probably.
He's got everything else, but no, it's a good summer around here. Baseball is great. Fishing, whether you're magnet fishing or whatever kind of fishing you're doing, but summer goes by fast. So get out and enjoy it.
Yes, especially in Wisconsin. It's
absolutely
gorgeous. There's sometimes I'm sitting there and just sitting in the backyard or going up to the water, and it's like we're kind of spoiled here, with the weather when it's the good weather.
Oh, yeah.
But
well, we got so many neat places to go and see.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you get into the North Woods here and get into Door County or wherever you're going to go in Wisconsin. You don't have to go far to enjoy Mother Nature. It's really a spectacular place to be.
Mm-hmm. Totally agree with you. So
take a bottle of Boone
or G-Man's buddy's wine.
There you go. That's not bad either.
Right there. So, okay. What else do we want to hit up there? So we got the draft. We'll see if the Bucks make a move in the first round. I don't know, but
I don't know what they've got to negotiate with. Like you said, Jay Crowder, they gave away 5 second round. They don't have a lot to dicker with, and there's only 2 rounds. So it's, if you can find somebody to take all your 4th round draft picks, that'd be great because there aren't any. You just don't have a lot to bargain with in the NBA like you do in football. I mean, those guys in football, the way they, move up and down for more picks, and they're magicians, but they do that all the time. We follow it from the outside, but they're on the inside. So they know how to do that, what needs to be done, and how they can do that. But with the NBA draft, there's not much intrigue to it.
Yep.
There really isn't.
Outside the first pick that everybody knows, and this is the thing, they're not going to do it because it makes money in that. Just don't drag out the clock. We know what the pick's going to be. It's going to be Victor. Just come on, get it up there right away, and then let's move on. But
Popovich, he's kind of guy that says, I'm not going to mess around with this. You know who we're going to take? Let's take him. So it might be right just like that.
Yep, I hope so.
Yeah.
Or the networks will just hold it so they don't announce it right away. That could be the thing.
How much do you think this adds to Popovich's career as a head coach, having this kid versus maybe retiring? Because they've been in hard times the last few years.
I thought I saw, let me see if I can get it really quick. There was a headline that the way they worded it was kind of interesting. That he is going to have a new contract when he decides what he's doing or something like that. I think it was.
Yeah.
But I think he's going to be around for a few more years. Yeah, I expected. This was from back in a couple of weeks ago. It looks like. Yeah, I expected to return, but doesn't have a new contract yet. Okay, but yeah, it sounds like he's going to sign a new one here.
He's had an interesting career because he was in the front office.
He's a GM first.
Manager.
Yeah,
he said, I don't like what they're doing. I'm going to be the coach.
Well, that's why I actually brought that up with Luke yesterday. I'm like, how often do you see the GM go and be the coach, but be probably one of the best coaches of all time?
Yeah.
Timing wise is perfect because it was also during that season where, David Robinson got hurt and they ended up getting the first round pick, Tim Duncan. It's like, oh, here you go.
Then Robinson comes back and then they get
TD, Tim Duncan. So
they got Duncan and what's his name? The little French guard.
Oh, Tony Parker,
Ginobili, Manu Ginobili, who I think is a tremendously underrated player. I mean, you used to watch him and he was great. I mean, the things he could do and how he could change a game when he came in, he never wanted to start. He was the 6th man, and boy, what a spark plug he was. He was a difference maker there too.
I know the NBA has named their awards. I don't know if they've named the 6th Man of the Year award yet. They probably have, but Ginobili should have been on that short list. So, all right, sir.
All right, let me know what you catch with your magnet.
I gotta get out there and do that more. Anybody else? Give me some tips. We'll be back tomorrow, 6 a.m. Talk to you then.